my shield, and about 10,000 monsters who all decided today was a great day to cross the river. 5 minutes passed, then 10. I stopped counting after that because math requires brain cells, and I was using all of mine to not die. My strategy was actually genius, if I say so myself. Instead of killing everything, I used my mountain river shield technique to just bonk them, smack them sideways, shove them into each other. These dumb beasts had 0 brain cells between them, so when I kept bashing them with my round shield, they just piled up on each other like the world's ugliest traffic jam. The ones in the back kept pushing forward. The ones in front couldn't retreat. And I was standing there like the world's most stubborn bouncer at the world's worst nightclub. Sorry, VIP list only. Your name? Giant Tooth Wolf? Not on the list. But let me tell you, even genius strategies have limits when you're blocking thousands of monsters with your own 2 arms. 20 minutes in, and I was done. Cooked. Finished. My arms were completely numb. My supply pack was empty. Every recovery potion, every nutrient shot, gone. I was squatting on the bridge gasping like a fish someone threw onto a sidewalk. The good news? There was literally a mountain of dead beast parts in front of me now. Anything that wanted to reach me had to climb Mount Deadwolf first. I glanced back. 20-something minutes should be enough for Lin Xia and the convoy to get Teacher Lung Yu to safety. And even if it wasn't enough, well, my body was writing checks it absolutely could not cash anymore. I did all this because of Lung Yu, by the way. That ice-cold, beautiful teacher pushed me out of danger earlier and saved my life. I'm Chinyi. I pay my debts. Then, because the universe has a personal grudge against me, Rohair, a massive iron spike elephant smashed through the pile of corpses like they were made of paper. This thing was bigger than the thick-skinned behemoth from before. 4-meter-long white tusks gleaming like they were freshly polished just to murder me specifically. Commander-level beast. Peak power type. And behind it, more commander-level energy signatures. The big boys were tired of waiting and decided to handle the annoying human roadblock personally. Wow, I'm flattered. All this for little old me. I kicked a wolf corpse to launch myself backward, sheathed my short blade, and whipped out my fortress breaker spear. You think you can keep me here? Dream on. I squeezed every last drop of thunder sound energy from my body. Dragon tail sweep. My spear carved a massive arc of light across half the bridge, swatting the frontline wolves straight into the elephant's face. While everything was confused and tangled up, I turned around and ran. Each step covered over 10 meters. Even completely exhausted, a 4-star warrior's burst speed is no joke. I was basically a blur on that bridge. But I wasn't just running like an idiot. Oh no. As I retreated, I kept stabbing backward with my spear, not at the beasts, but at the fuel tanks of abandoned cars on the bridge. Boom, boom, boom. A chain of explosions erupted behind me. Fire shot into the sky. The flames cut off the beast tide's pursuit path like nature's own. Do not enter sign. I was almost at the middle section of the bridge, feeling pretty good about my explosive escape plan, when something terrible happened above me. A painful grunt from the clouds. Then a scream that nearly shattered my eardrums. I looked up. The Grandmaster, the one fighting the purple flame thunder eagle up in the clouds, was falling. Like a bird with broken wings, trailing smoke and blood, he got swatted out of the sky and crashed toward the center of Gold Mountain City. Are you kidding me? Even a Grandmaster can't hold. I ran faster. But then hope. From the direction of South River City, a golden streak of light tore across the sky like a cruise missile with an attitude problem and slammed straight into the purple firestorm above. Beast, get back to your forbidden zone. The shout hit like 1,000 thunderbolts at once. It literally punched a hole in the purple sky. Reinforcements. Another human Grandmaster. A golden sword light exploded from deep within the clouds. The purple flame thunder eagle let out its most agonized scream yet. Purple feather flames rained down everywhere, each one melting a crater into the bridge where it landed. 2 Grandmasters versus 1 Beast Emperor. But honestly, I wasn't relieved. At that level, humans are always at a disadvantage. A Beast Emperor's insane vitality and defense can outlast 2 same-rank humans easy. Not my battlefield, I muttered, flicking my spear to launch a few beasts off the bridge. Every muscle in my body was screaming. My organs were rattled from the fighting, but I couldn't stop. Behind me, that iron spike elephant had smashed through the fire barrier and was charging after me with the subtlety of a freight train. I ran for my life across that crumbling bridge while explosions, beast roars, and Grandmaster-level combat created the soundtrack to what I can only describe as the apocalypse's greatest hits album. Then I saw her. At the bridge exit, a staggering figure was staring at the broken road ahead. Chunyi, get over here. That voice, clear but weirdly hoarse, cut through all the noise. Teacher Lungyu. Why was she still here? What were Lin Xia and Luo Feng doing? They left her here alone. I was furious, but then I actually looked at her, and something was very wrong. Her normally snow-white skin was flushed an alarming shade of red. Her pale blue hair was whipping around wildly in the hot wind. Her eyes, usually cold as ice, now had this strange, hazy, struggling look in them. She was biting her lip so hard it was almost bleeding. That purple flame toxin she'd absorbed, it wasn't normal fire energy at all. It was crawling through her meridians into her mind like a greedy snake, burning away her willpower, stirring up some kind of primal heat deep inside her. That purple flame was the secret ingredient the Beast Emperor used to drive all the beasts crazy and create this whole rampaging beast tide in the first place. And now it was inside Lungyu. And as her willpower crumbled, her instincts were screaming at her to get closer to me. The guy radiating hot-blooded warrior energy like a human furnace. Great. Just great. I survived 10,000 monsters, dodge an elephant, blow up half a bridge, and now I have to deal with this? Today is not my day. Hurry. Get over here. No time to think. I squeezed every last drop of tiger leopard thunder sound from my meridians. Open up. I vaulted over the last pile of wrecked cars, jammed my spear into the ground, and used it like a pole vault. The spear's elasticity launched me into the air like a human cannonball. Mid-flight, over the gap in the bridge, a pair of soft but scorching hot hands grabbed mine and yanked me across. The second we hit the ground, Lungyu slammed the detonator. Boom! The heavy alloy charges buried in the bridge supports went off all at once. The South Sky Bridge, already beaten half to death by thousands of stampeding monsters, finally gave up on life. The entire middle section cracked apart and collapsed into the river. The river swallowed everything. Hundreds of beasts, that oversized iron spike elephant, all of it, dragged under by walls of churning water. I stood there wheezing like a broken accordion. My chest was pumping so hard, I probably looked like a bellows in a blacksmith shop. And that's when I noticed my arms were wrapped tightly around someone. Someone wearing alloy light armor. Someone very curvy. Lungyu. HSS. Her armor was hot. Like, literally radiating heat. White steam was hissing out through the gaps in her plating like she had a volcano trapped under there instead of a human body. The purple flame toxin was going full nuclear inside her, burning through her blood and chi, trying to completely destroy the sanity of this 6-star peak powerhouse. Chunyi, her voice. Gone was the Ice Queen authority. Gone was the, I am your superior, energy. What came out was this breathy, raspy whisper that sounded like every word was being dragged through a furnace. Before I could process any of that, a burning hot hand shot past my neck and clamped onto the back of my head. I looked down instinctively. Our eyes met, inches apart. Her face was so red it looked like it might actually start bleeding. Those frost-cold eyes that usually made grown warriors flinch, completely glazed over with purple haze and something else I'm not going to describe in detail. Her breath hit my face like standing in front of an open oven. Teacher Lungyu, she stared at me with the last flickering candle of sanity she had left. I could literally watch it guttering in real time. Apparently my warrior blood chi smelled absolutely incredible to her right now. Like rain after a drought, like a bonfire in a blizzard. Every cell in her body was screaming one word, and that word was closer. Turns out this was exactly why she stayed behind and told Luo Feng and Lin Xia to leave with everyone else. She wanted to be alone. With me. Because Toxin Brain said so. Call me Xiao Yu. Her voice was shattered glass and desperate pleading. All that carefully built Ice Queen persona, all that Inspector authority, all that senior to junior dignity, the Beast Emperor's weird energy burned it all to ash in about 3 seconds flat. She was trembling in my arms. Not the trembling of a 6-star peak warrior. The trembling of someone barely clinging to the edge of a cliff. And I was apparently her only handhold. Xiao Yu, I murmured, voice rough. Before I could say literally anything else, her hand on the back of my neck clenched. Her nails left little red scratches on my skin. Then she lunged forward and kissed me. Not a gentle, romantic kiss. A desperate, almost violent collision. My brain went boom. Every ounce of battle exhaustion evaporated instantly. My neurons did a full factory reset. Now look, I didn't fully understand what was happening to her medically speaking, but Teacher Lung Yu was very clearly making a request here, and if I refused, that would just be disrespectful. Rude, even. My mother raised me with manners. So I did what any responsible student would do. I cooperated. Fully. On one side of the river, golden sword light and purple thunder fire were ripping the sky in half as two human grandmasters fought a life-or-death battle against an 8-star beast emperor, the shockwaves shaking the earth for 100 miles. On this side, in the smoking rubble of a collapsed bridge, two very different kinds of intense energy were tangling together, and everything else, war, monsters, the apocalypse, got tossed right into that churning river. Ding. Congratulations, host. Target Lung Yu, 6-star peak. Success. First successful level-skipping conquest. Family legacy, step 2 complete. Congratulations, host. Receiving level skip gift package. You know, most people get achievement notifications for killing a boss monster. I get mine for. Well, moving on. The smoke cleared. The wild energy settled. And then Lung Yu shoved me away so hard I almost tumbled into the river myself. Her face was nuclear red. Her chest was heaving. Those ice-cold eyes were back online, and they were loaded with equal parts embarrassment and fury, both aimed directly at yours truly. You. She bit down on her lip so hard I thought she'd draw blood. Her voice still had that telltale raspy quality. You could practically see the gears turning in her head. She, the esteemed inspector of the South River Martial Association, a 6-star peak warrior, a woman who made grown men nervous with a single glance, had just thrown herself at a guy years younger than her. On a battlefield. In rubble. Where technically anyone could have seen. Yes, it was the purple flame toxin. Yes, it was to suppress that destructive desire before it killed her. But still, the humiliation was clearly hitting her harder than any beast emperor ever could. On the bright side, the raging chaos in her blood had calmed down. The burning in her mind hadn't disappeared, but it was manageable now. Her rational brain was officially back in the driver's seat. And the first thing rational brain Lung Yu wanted to do was crawl into a hole and never come out. She was probably thinking, this young man has definitely never met a woman this aggressive in his entire life. Lady, you have no idea what kind of system I'm running. On the outside, I was wearing my best, innocent boy face. On the inside, system. Open the level skip gift package. Ding. Level skip gift package opened. Obtained partial gene development from Lung Yu. Gene development 5%. Obtain Lung Yu's core movement technique. Shadow Phantom Steps. Beginner. Obtained. Defeating the strong. Bronze badge. When fighting above your level, tiny chance becomes guaranteed success. Hold on. It's not done. Ding. Critical hit triggered. Additional gene development from Lung Yu. Gene development 5%. Movement technique upgraded. Shadow Phantom Steps. Proficient. Obtained. Defeating the strong. Silver badge. When fighting above your level, small chance becomes guaranteed success. A critical hit. From that, I don't even know what to say anymore. Then my spine basically exploded. Not in a bad way. Pure, refined energy detonated from deep inside my core and flooded every inch of my body. This stuff made every nutrition potion I'd ever chugged taste like tap water. My gene development rate took off like a rocket. 42%, 45%, 48%. Crack, 51.1%. 5-star warrior. Crossing the 50% threshold meant my entire life level had jumped again. And on top of that, Shadow Phantom Steps downloaded directly into my muscle memory like I'd been practicing footwork for 10 years. My body felt light as a feather. Lung Yu took a deep breath, forced down her embarrassment, straightened her messy armor, and turned to look at me. Then she froze. As a 6-star peak warrior, her energy sensing was razor sharp. And what she was sensing from me right now did not match what she remembered from 5 minutes ago. Chen Yiyu, whatever scolding she'd been preparing got stuck in her throat. Her eyes went wide. My blood chi was now radiating pressure so strong that even SHE could feel it pushing back at her. How is this possible? You. You broke through again. She forgot all about being embarrassed and grabbed my wrist, her face pure shock. I gave her my most humble, bashful smile. Maybe it's because teacher's guidance was just so profound that I had a tiny little epiphany. Lung Yu's face turned tomato red instantly. Duh, profound guidance? Is that what we're calling it now? Her legs were still wobbly. A tiny epiphany? Other people spend 10 to 20 years going from 4-star to 5-star. You just epiphanied your way through it in minutes? She stared at my annoyingly young face with the most complicated expression I've ever seen on a woman. This man who had somehow become her man without any proper process whatsoever had once again shattered everything she knew about martial cultivation. What kind of monster was I? Good question. I'd also like to know. The sky above us chose this moment to remind everyone that the apocalypse was still happening. Thunder and explosions rolled down from the clouds as golden Grandmaster energy collided with purple lightning fire. Even with 2 human Grandmasters tag-teaming it, they still couldn't put down that purple flame Thunder Eagle. Move. Now. Lung Yu's face went serious. She grabbed my arm and pulled. The shockwaves alone from that battle could turn us into paste. And deep worry flashed in her eyes. That bone-deep heat and madness she'd just experienced. She realized the purple flame toxin was doing this to every warrior on the battlefield. Countless fighters were probably teetering on the edge of insanity right now. If 2 Grandmasters couldn't kill that beast, the tide could hit South River City next. I hardened my gaze and reached over to hold her hand. Lung Yu looked at me for a long moment, then ripped her hand away. Stop it. You're slowing me down. Her ears were bright red. She blurred into a shadow and sprinted toward the South River defensive line. Cute. But we didn't get far. A few kilometers out, agonized screams and a woman's shriek pierced through the smoke from a ruined factory ahead. That's Lin Xia. My pupils shrank. Lung Yu's face went ice cold. Let's go. We pushed our speed to the absolute max and crashed through the haze. What I saw made my blood boil. The advance team, the one that was supposed to be evacuating civilians, was in a nightmare. Luo Feng was pinned to a broken concrete wall by a black spear driven straight through his body. Blood pooled beneath him. His head hung limp. I couldn't tell if he was alive or dead. 2 other 2-star warrior brothers lay crumpled against a wall, drenched in their own blood. In the dark corner of the ruins stood Wang Zheng, face cold as stone. Behind him, 3 warriors with deep, dangerous auras. And behind them, a young man with a twisted, savage grin. White steam poured off his body. His skin was an ugly, sickly dark red. Purple light flickered in his eyes. Pinned beneath his hands was Lin Xia. Her battle armor was half torn off. The side of her face was swollen. Blood on her lips. Eyes closed. Unconscious. Wang Zheng. What are you doing? Lung Yu's roar hit like a thunderclap. She was shaking with rage. Her spear was literally humming from the force of her grip. Wang Zheng saw Lung Yu appear and barely flinched. A flicker of caution crossed his eyes, then got replaced by cold indifference. The young man, Yao Hailong, turned his head. His gaze lingered on Lung Yu's face for exactly 1 second. Then he licked his lips with a blood-red tongue, voice like sandpaper on metal. Wang Zheng. Who's this woman? Young Master Yao. This is the inspector of the South River Martial Association. Lung Yu. Wang Zheng's tone was disgustingly respectful. Inspector? Your co-worker? Yao Hailong sneered, purple light blazing in his eyes. Pretty face. Tell her to get lost. Don't interrupt me. Wang Zheng turned to Lung Yu with a voice dripping with warning. Lung Yu, you'd better pretend you saw nothing and leave immediately with your people. This is the direct bloodline of Grandmaster Yao. Young Master Yao's safety and well-being are worth more than all of your lives combined. Grandmaster's son, so he gets to do whatever he wants? I looked at Luo Feng nailed to a wall. I looked at Lin Xia, beaten unconscious, armor half ripped off. I looked at this purple-eyed freak licking his lips like a predator. My hand tightened around my spear until my knuckles went white. Yao Hailong glanced at me, smiled. Still here? Kill that man, he said casually, pointing first at Luo Feng on the wall, then at me. Well, looks like today's schedule just got an update. Young Master Yao, please stop. Lung Yu couldn't hold back anymore. She blurred forward, her spear shooting at Wang Zheng like a silver lightning bolt. See, the logic was simple. She couldn't kill Yao Hailong. He was a Grandmaster's son, and that's political suicide. But she absolutely could stop his little party. If she walked away from this, she'd never be able to show her face at the South River Martial Association again. Lung Yu, you're digging your own grave. Wang Zheng exploded with full 6-star peak aura, blocking her spear with his round shield. Clang. The shockwave rattled the ruins. Are you insane? Wang Zheng screamed while fighting. Young Master Yao got hit by the purple flame toxin. If he doesn't release it through a woman, it'll damage his foundation. If anything happens to him, can you handle Grandmaster Yao's fury? I don't care about his foundation. Lin Xia is mine. He doesn't touch her. Lung Yu's eyes could have frozen lava. Yao Hailong just laughed. Like a psycho. Wang Zheng, why are you still talking? Grab this woman for me too. Inspector? Never had one of those before. And that kid over there, what's he staring at? Kill him. On his command, 3 warriors shot toward me like black arrows. The leader was 4-star. The other 2 were peak 3-star. All Yao family retainers. I could practically read their thoughts. Poor kid. So young. Already 3-star. Had a bright future. Too bad he pissed off the wrong young master. Boy, the 4-star guy grinned, long blade raised. In your next life, remember, don't look at young Master Yao. Like that. His blade came screaming down at my face while the other 2 flanked me from both sides. 3 wolves closing in on what they thought was a sheep. I looked at them, seeking death. My voice came out so cold it surprised even me. Here's the thing these idiots didn't know. I was no longer 4-star. I was 51.1%. 5-star. Freshly upgraded. And to my new 5-star eyes, their attacks looked like they were moving through honey. Chen Wai, watch out. Lung Yu screamed from across the ruins, mid-fight with Wang Zheng. She'd sensed the lead attacker was 4-star and thought I was the same level at best. 1-on-1 plus 2 backup? In her mind, I was in serious trouble. Yeah, about that. I took 1 step forward and let my aura off the leash. The lead 4-star warrior's cocky grin froze on his face like someone hit pause on a video. Every alarm bell in his body went haywire at once. He wasn't looking at a young man anymore. He was looking at something ancient and hungry wearing a young man's skin. His energy. How is it stronger than mine? Too late to think. His blade was already committed. I snorted. Thunder sound rumbled through my body. Shadow Phantom Steps. Activate. My body went ghostly for a split second. Whoosh. His blade cut through empty air. Nothing but an afterimage. That sickening feeling of swinging your hardest and hitting absolutely nothing. I could see it breaking him in real time. His momentum carried him forward, back completely exposed. Then he saw the spear tip, growing very, very fast in his vision. Overlord Spear. Boom. I didn't even bother with anatomy tricks. Pure, raw, power. My spear punched through his alloy chest plate like it was aluminum foil. The crack of his ribcage collapsing was the kind of sound that makes dentists wince. The spear went clean through his chest and out the back, spraying a modern art masterpiece of red across the wall behind him. He screamed. He knew he was dead. But instead of accepting his fate gracefully, this maniac grabbed my spear shaft with both bloody hands and held on. His plan? Die as a speed bump. Lock my weapon in his corpse so his 2 buddies could finish me off. Points for teamwork, I guess. Kill him. The 2 3-star warriors went absolutely feral, blades coming at my throat and stomach from both sides. With what? I watched their attacks approach. Slow. So painfully slow. I didn't pull my spear out. Instead, I pushed. Every fiber of muscle in my arms flexed like ancient tree roots. Thunder sound howled inside me. 51.1% gene development meant I wasn't just stronger than these guys. I was playing a completely different sport. Get out. Tum. That sound was a battering ram hitting a castle gate. The dead 4-star warrior, still skewered on my spear, lifted off the ground entirely. His body rocketed backward like a human cannonball, trailing blood and a terrible shrieking sound through the air. Because he was gripping the shaft, the angle shifted slightly during flight. The spear tip, already poking out his back, tilted downward just a bit. Yao Hailong, who was still standing behind him all hot and bothered. The bloody spear tip expanded in his pupils at terrifying speed. This all happened so fast that Lung Yu and Wang Zheng, mid-clash, couldn't even blink before it was over. Squelch. The spear tip, still wearing the 4-star warrior like a kebab, drove straight into Yao Hailong's eye. Crack. The vibration force from my thrust detonated inside his skull. You know what a watermelon looks like when you hit it with a sledgehammer? Yeah. Yao Hailong's head popped like a party balloon filled with red and white confetti. His headless body was still frozen in the pose of reaching for Lin Xia. Then the four-star warrior's corpse, carried by momentum, slammed into him and knocked him over. My spear finished its journey by nailing the four-star warrior's body to a concrete pillar behind them. The spear tail was still vibrating. High frequency, like it was humming a victory song. Silence. Complete, absolute, deafening silence. The entire ruined factory went from chaotic battlefield to funeral parlor in half a second. Everyone, Wang Zheng, Leng Yu, the two remaining three-star warriors, stood frozen, staring at the concrete pillar, the pinned corpse, and the headless body of the Grandmaster's son crumpled. Beneath it, did I plan that? Did I deliberately use a dead man as a guided missile to take out a Grandmaster's son through the eye socket from 20 feet away? That I'll never tell. The two three-star warriors who'd been mid-swing at me? Frozen, blades hanging in the air, eyes about to fall out of their skulls. Leng Yu and Wang Zheng? Also frozen, mid-fight. I think they both forgot how to breathe. Wang Zheng stared at the headless body wearing expensive armor, and his brain just left. Gone. Checked out. The only sound coming from him was this pathetic HHHH. HHHH, like a broken vacuum cleaner. The Grandmaster's son, the only direct heir, got his head popped like a grape. On Wang Zheng's watch. It's over, his legs gave out. And because he was supposed to be blocking Leng Yu at the time, that little moment of existential collapse was all the opening she needed. One sweep of her spear, and Wang Zheng went flying like a human baseball. Even Leng Yu was stunned. Her spear hand was trembling. She wanted that guy dead too, sure, but she understood the math. Grandmaster Yao's rage could burn everyone here to ashes. But me? The moment Yao Hailong's headless body hit the ground, I felt something I can only describe as the most satisfying exhale of my entire life. Like I'd been holding my breath underwater for an hour and finally broke the surface. Was the final angle of the spear intentional? Technically no. The four-star warrior's death grip on my spear shaft caused the tip to angle down at just the right moment. Total accident. But watching a man who ordered my death and was about to do unspeakable things to Lin Xia get turned into a headless action figure? Not a single atom of regret in my body. My martial heart felt clear. In martial arts, the path forward is all about following your true feelings. And my true feelings said that guy was human garbage, and garbage belongs in the ground. People like that? The world gets better when they leave it. I grinned. Covered in blood, standing in ruins, surrounded by corpses. Probably looked like a demon. Didn't care. The two remaining three-star retainers were still frozen in pure terror. Bad move. Hesitation is death. I drew my alloy short blade. Shadow phantom steps. My body became a dark blur in the shadows of the ruins. Slash. So fast they never saw it. Both warriors felt an icy chill across their throats at the same time. They reached up to grab their necks, but hot blood was already pouring through their fingers like a broken faucet. Two bodies dropped. Eyes still wide open. Dead before they understood what killed them. Cold. Yes. But here's the reality check. Yao Hailong was dead, and in a situation like this, any witness who isn't a trusted ally is a liability. Period. Now Wang Zheng. This man was having the worst day of his life. His precious young master? Headless. The retainers? Dead. His career? Over. His actual life? Looking pretty short too. Leng Yui, are you insane? He screamed while desperately blocking her spear attacks. He killed someone. He killed the Grandmaster's son. His whole pitch was simple. Hand me over. Deliver my head to Grandmaster Yao. Save everyone else. Cut me loose. Sacrifice the new guy. Protect the organization. Classic middle management thinking. But Leng Yu's spear just came faster and harder. Every thrust aimed at something vital. She wasn't interested in negotiations. Wang Zheng nearly coughed blood from sheer frustration. Did this woman not understand? This was a Grandmaster's wrath they were talking about. Of course she understood. But Yao Hailong was dead either way now. And asking her to turn me in and team up with a spineless bootlicker like Wang Zheng? Not happening. Her choice was simple. Kill Wang Zheng instead. Crazy woman. Wang Zheng knew what she'd decided. But he genuinely could not wrap his brain around it. I was just some slightly promising young guy. Was I really worth throwing everything away for? Buddy, if only you knew about my system. you'd understand that I am absolutely worth it. While he was busy trying not to die to Lung Yu, a terrifying sound ripped through the air from his side. That was me. Shadow Phantom Steps plus my Fortress Breaker Spear equals a dark gold lightning bolt screaming toward his exposed flank. And oh, Wang Zheng's scalp went numb. The killing intent from behind made every hair on his body stand up. He had no choice. He twisted hard, deliberately letting Lung Yu's spear bite into his left shoulder just to dodge my kill shot. SCHRRK. Metal Tor. Lung Yu's spear punched through the gap in his shoulder armor, ripping open a bloody gash. Lung Yu. He wanted to point at me, wanted to scream about justice and consequences. But while his body was off balance and his blood was churning from the shoulder wound, I didn't pull back. Instead, I turned my thrust into the smoothest horizontal drag you've ever seen. Azure Dragon Spear, Dragon Tail Sweep. The spear traced a perfect arc. The tip vibrated at high frequency, humming with thunder sound. Wang Zheng's eyes bulged. He tried to raise his shield, but Lung Yu's shoulder strike had already locked him in place. He couldn't move an inch. Squelch. One clean sound. Neat as a paper cut. My bloody spear tip glided across his unguarded neck like a razor through silk. Windpipe severed. Carotid artery open wide. HKKK. HKKK. Wang Zheng's voice cut off mid-sentence. He dropped his shield and slapped both hands over his neck, trying to hold in the fountain of red. Useless. Blood frothed from his mouth. With his windpipe cut, every word he tried to say came out as a wet, whistling hiss. He stared at me with pure disbelief. Him, a 6-star inspector, killed by a kid who'd barely been certified. His final look was for Lung Yu. Pure venom and mockery. Eyes that said, "You're all dead anyway." Thud. Wang Zheng dropped to his knees in the mud, then fell face first. Done. Lung Yu leaned on her spear, breathing hard. She looked at the bodies, especially the headless one in the expensive armor. Her expression was complicated, doesn't even begin to cover it. Chunyi, she turned to me, the blood-soaked young man holding a dripping spear, and bit her lip. We just poked a hole in the sky. Yeah, we did. A Grandmaster's only son. Headless. His bodyguards. Dead. A 6-star inspector. Throat cut. All done by a freshly promoted 5-star nobody and his maybe sort of girlfriend, who is also technically his teacher. On the bright side, my martial heart has never felt clearer. On the less bright side, there's now a Grandmaster out there who's going to want my head on a very sharp stick. Today started with a beast tide and ended with me accidentally decapitating political royalty. I really need to start having more boring days. I slowly pulled my spear back and looked up at the sky, where the Grandmasters were still going at it with the Beast Emperor, tearing the clouds apart with gold and purple explosions. Grandmasters? Are they really the sky? Lung Yu stared at me like I'd grown a second head. A week ago, she'd have laughed at anyone dumb enough to say something like that. But standing next to a headless Grandmaster's son and a 6-star inspector with a new neck hole, she suddenly didn't feel like laughing. She scanned the scene. Lin Xia unconscious, Luo Feng still pinned to a wall, and her eyes went sharp. If we get rid of these bodies, only you and I know what happened here. I nodded. No argument. Time to clean up. Yao Hailong and Wang Zheng died heroically fighting the beast tide. That's the story. Very sad. Much honor. Splash, splash, splash. Into the raging river they went. The water was already full of broken bridge chunks and dead monster parts, so a few extra bodies didn't even make a ripple. The current dragged them under in seconds. And the sea-type beasts lurking in those waters? Way scarier than anything on land. By tomorrow, there wouldn't even be bones left. We'd barely finished our little river funeral when helicopter rotors thundered overhead. 2 medical choppers with Martial Association logos swooped in through the smoke. Here to pick up Lin Xia and Luo Feng. Go. I grabbed Lung Yu and we vanished into the mist and rubble before anyone could spot us near the crime scene. On the way back, because the universe refuses to give me a 5-minute break, we ran into a pack of 2-star bloodthirst panthers that had scattered from the main battlefield. My spear went to work. Quick, brutal, efficient. But here's where it got clever. After killing a few dozen of them, I deliberately messed up my own armor, smeared beast blood all over myself, and used internal energy to force a flush into my skin, making myself look completely drained and half dead. Lung Yu caught on instantly. She was already injured, So she just leaned against my shoulder, made her breathing look unsteady, and played the part of an exhausted warrior perfectly. Minutes later, dozens of dead panthers surrounded us, and we were slumped together against a stone pillar under the broken bridge, eyes half closed. Rescue is coming soon, I whispered. Our eyes met. Lung Yu looked at my face, inches away, and I could tell she was thinking about everything. The bridge. The incident. The bodies we just dumped in a river together. Her heartbeat stuttered. Shared a life or death secret with a man. Is this what they call bonding through trauma? A search helicopter arrived right on cue. Survivors found. It's Inspector Lung Yu and a 3-star warrior, Chen Yi. Medical team, go. They've collapsed from exhaustion. The rescue crew jumped down, saw the field of dead panthers around us, saw 2 warriors huddled together after clearly fighting to their last breath, and their eyes filled with pure respect. Academy Award performance. Thank you. No autographs, please. On the helicopter, I leaned against the cabin wall and looked down through the window. Gold Mountain City, the so-called Golden City, was half destroyed. Smoke rose from it like black scars across the earth. The 2 grandmasters had finally beaten the Purple Flame Thunder Eagle back. With the Beast Emperor retreating, the entire Beast Tide pulled back into the mountain forbidden zones like a receding wave. Gold Mountain City survived, but the price was brutal. Even South River City and neighboring cities took heavy damage. I closed my eyes and pulled up my system panel. Host, Chen Yi. Level, 5-star initial, gene development 51.2%. Partner 1, Su. Chinga, development 50%. Status, pregnant, training hard. Partner 2, Lung Yu, development 5%. Status, not pregnant, embarrassed, and angry. Development points, 15. Status, embarrassed and angry. I glanced over at Lung Yu. Yeah, that checks out. Back at the South River Martial Association Center, the Assembly Square had become a massive field hospital. Broken limbs everywhere. Groaning. Stretchers scraping across the ground. Medical supplies critically low. Lung Yu took one look at the wounded, especially the low-rank warriors, and shoved away the medical team trying to help her. I'm fine. Just blood chi shock. Save the treatment shots for the others. Her voice was cold and commanding. Inspector mode, re-engaged. Then she glanced at me with that complicated look again. Come. My private training room. I nodded and followed her. Then I pulled out my phone. Lung Yu watched me with confused eyes as I video called Su Chinga. Ring. Ring. The call connected. My wife's worried, red-eyed little face filled the screen. Husband, are you okay? Are you hurt? The news said the South Sky Bridge collapsed. Her voice cracked. She was on the verge of tears. Wifey, don't cry. I'm perfectly fine. I softened my voice and rotated the camera to show her I was all in one piece except for some armor damage. Not only am I fine, I did something heroic. I'll tell you all about it when I get home. Right at that moment, Lung Yu, who'd been standing in the shadows, let her cold gaze sweep across Su Chinga's face on the screen. Su Chinga noticed the female silhouette behind me. Her voice paused for exactly 1 second. Husband, where are you? Is that Commander Lung Yu? I coughed awkwardly, but didn't try to hide anything. I casually shifted so Lung Yu was half visible on camera. Yeah, teacher got injured too. I'm escorting her back. For one electric instant, Su Chinga and Lung Yu's eyes met through the screen. Su Chinga's gaze was soft but fierce underneath. The look of a wife who loves her husband and isn't stupid. Lung Yu's gaze was pure frost, except for that tiny ember of shame buried deep down that only I could read. Lung Yu let out a cold humph and turned away, walking ahead of me. I smiled at the phone. Wifey, get some rest. I'll finish the paperwork and come home. Why did I do that? Strategy. What happened already happened. Rather than getting caught later and dealing with drama, better to slowly, naturally, let both sides get used to each other's existence. Plant the seeds now. Water them later. I am a man who plans ahead. I caught up to Lung Yu, who was strutting ahead of me with that gorgeous figure radiating, stay away from me, energy from every pore. I grinned, jogged up 2 steps, and reached for her cool, slender hand. Smack. She whipped her wrist and slapped my hand away so fast it created a gust of wind. Didn't even turn around. But her speed walking was doing a very poor job of hiding the fact that she was basically fleeing from me in a panic. Cute. So cute. We walked. Her in front, me behind, her pretending I didn't exist, through the quiet corridor and into her private training room. Click. The heavy alloy door locked shut. Outside world, gone. My eyes went hot. My restraint went out the window. 5-star body, peak physical condition, zero hesitation. I grabbed her from behind, spun her around, pressed her back against the cold alloy door, and kissed her. MMPH. Lung Yu's eyes went wide. She wanted to fight back. She really did. But the moment my familiar scent wrapped around her, all that resistance melted into a boiling cocktail of frustration and wounded pride. So she bit clean through my lower lip. The taste of blood spread between us. Fair. I deserved that one. A moment later, the training room was filled with nothing but heavy breathing. Lung Yu finally scraped together enough brain cells to remember she was supposed to be angry. Her face was so red it could guide ships at night. She shoved me away, wound up one of those long, gorgeous legs, and delivered a spinning kick straight to my stomach. Wham! I flew across the room like a broken kite, slammed into the shock-absorbing wall, slid down to the floor, and immediately grabbed my chest with maximum dramatic energy. OWWW. Teacher Lung Yu, are you trying to murder your own husband? I just held an entire bridge against 10,000 monsters, and I didn't get hurt this bad. She fixed her messy hair, took several deep breaths, and gave me the coldest humph in recorded history. Stop pretending. Your gene development is past 50% now. That kick couldn't even bruise you. Fair point. But the performance was worth it. Her ice blue eyes were blazing with fury, and I knew exactly why. She'd watched me video call Su Chinga right in front of her, using that soft, sweet husband voice, and it stabbed her in the heart like a tiny needle made of pure jealousy. Since the act wasn't working, I sat up straight and grinned at her. My dear teacher Lung Yu wifey, you literally threw away your life to save me on that bridge. And now you're pretending you don't care about me? PFFT. Who's your wife? She spat the words out, but her voice dropped several notches on its own. The jealousy was so thick you could spread it on toast. Chenyi, get this through your skull. What happened between us was only because of the purple flame toxin. It was an accident. Now that you've finished your business, get out and go home to your precious, good wife. But the way she turned her head away, refusing to look at me, that was textbook. I'm upset, and I need you to come comfort me immediately, body language. I've read this novel before. I know how this works. I stood up, dusted off my butt, and shambled over to her with zero dignity. I wrapped my arms around that impossibly slim waist. Even through the alloy armor, she could feel the heat radiating off me like a volcano. You? Let go. Her struggling got noticeably weaker. There was a tiny tremble in her voice that even she didn't notice. I leaned in close to her ear. Let the tiger leopard thunder sound hum low in my throat, sending vibrations across her skin. Teacher Xiao Yu, the purple toxin in your body isn't fully cleared yet. I can feel it. Your temperature is still rising. As your student, it's my responsibility to see this through to the end. Her ears went from pink to nuclear red. That heat she'd barely suppressed came roaring back with a vengeance. You bastard. She spun around to yell at me, but ran face first into my eyes. Let's just say we had a very productive 3 hours of toxin treatment. I was grinning ear to ear afterward. No pregnancy yet according to the system, but with my buffs, fatherhood round 2 couldn't be far off. OW. While I was busy feeling smug, Lung Yu, red-faced, hair messy, dignity in shambles, punched me in the chest. You jerk. You're still smiling. Gone was the Ice Queen. Gone was the terrifying inspector. She was flushed, breathless, hair everywhere, chest heaving. And that weak little punch hit me harder emotionally than anything on the battlefield today. We were supposed to come here to talk business. And instead you ruined everything. She looked at the complete disaster zone that used to be a tidy training room. Embarrassment and anger fought for control of her face. At the bridge, she could blame the toxin. She had an excuse. But here, in her own training room, with a clear head, she'd just spent 3 hours being ridiculous with me. Voluntarily, I grabbed her little hand and kissed it. Xiao Yu, this is business. Clearing your meridians. Stabilizing your foundation. This is serious martial cultivation work. PFFT. You. She snatched her hand back and tried to put her cold face back on. Didn't work. The blush had permanently moved in. I hugged her from behind. She stiffened, but didn't say anything. My voice dropped low. Sincere. Teacher. On the bridge. Why did you push me out of the way? Your 6-star peak. If you hadn't pushed me, your speed would have dodged that thunderfire easily. You used your own body to shield me. That was you risking your life? She turned her head. Her eyes were slightly wet. She bit down hard, forcing out the cold act. I'm your inspector. Protecting subordinates is my due. Bullcrap. I cut her off. Looked her dead in the eyes. In a life or death moment, instinct doesn't lie. Xiaoyu. Admit it. You have feelings for me. The name, Xiaoyu, in my voice hit her like a cheat code. I could literally see a chunk of her emotional wall crumble in real time. She looked at my stupidly intense eyes. Her heartbeat went haywire again. That's so what if I do? She laughed bitterly, pulled away from me, and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. Outside, rescue teams were still rushing around the damaged streets. You have a family. A wife. She's carrying your child. I, Lung Yu, am not pathetic enough to steal another woman's man. I walked up behind her and wrapped my arms around her again. She struggled twice, failed, and gave up. In this era of martial power, rules are for the weak. I rested my chin on her shoulder, breathing in that cold, clean scent. As long as I'm strong enough, I can give all of you the best future. As for your place in my life, I paused. Let my voice go full caveman. You're already Chun Ye's woman. This lifetime, you're not escaping. She was quiet for a long time. The warmth from my body slowly dissolved the vinegar in her heart. Lung Yu was smart. She knew a freak like me was never going to belong to just one person. Then, what's your plan for me? She turned around, eyes locked on mine, stubborn as ever. You expect the great Inspector Lung Yu to be your dirty little secret? Never. I grinned. Xiaoyu, you're going up. Vice President. President. The top. And I'll be the strongest wall behind you. She rolled her eyes at my nearly delusional confidence. She poked my iron-hard chest with one jade finger. Hard. Chenyi, you think 51% gene development is impressive? You think being 5-star means you can strut around South River City like you own the place? My 68% doesn't even count for much. Below Grandmaster, everyone is an ant, she sighed, worry clouding her beautiful face. Listen to me. Yao Hailong and Wang Zheng's deaths, we can't hide it forever. That's a Grandmaster's only heir. His bloodline. Once Grandmaster Yao gets suspicious, he'll use every high-level resource available. He'll bring in spirit psychics to do scene retrospection. We threw the bodies in the river. We were thorough, but a Grandmaster's methods are beyond anything we can even imagine at our level. She knew the saying, below Grandmaster, all our ants, wasn't poetry. It was a fact. If that 8-star Grandmaster went berserk, the entire city would tremble. But looking at the worry between her eyebrows, I didn't feel scared. Not even a little. Instead, I reached out, tilted her chin up with one hand, full caveman mode engaged, and made those ice blue eyes look directly into mine. What if? What if I break through again? Smash past the 6-star bottleneck? Step into the Grandmaster realm? Lung Yu blinked. Then she looked at me like I'd just told her I was planning to flap my arms and fly to the moon. Chenyi, you're still too young. You have no idea what that gap really means. Lady, you also had no idea what my system really means. But that's a surprise for later. Lung Yu held up her pale hand and drew an invisible line in the air, laughing at herself. Martial cultivation gets harder the further you go. The Grandmaster threshold, 50% to 70%, isn't just about energy anymore. It's a complete rebirth of your entire life level. I was born into a martial family. I've had 100 times the resources of a normal person. And I've been stuck at this stage for 20 years. I'm only at 68%. She looked at me the way a tired parent looks at a kid who just announced he's going to be an astronaut dinosaur president. 20 years, Chenyi. I might never cross that line in my entire life. What makes you think you can blast through it in a short time? Your little epiphanies. She thought I was a talented kid who'd never tasted real high-level suffering. That soul-crushing grind where 1% takes years or decades. But instead of backing down, I smiled even wider. I wrapped my arms around her waist. Absolutely incredible elasticity, by the way. Leaned to her ear and whispered, "My dear Xiaoyu wifey, I think you're forgetting something." She froze at Xiaoyu wifey. Her brain stuttered. Before she could reboot, I continued. I went from 9.9% gene development, a reject who couldn't even pass the martial arts college exam, to 51.1%, standing right here in front of you. And it took me less than 50 days. She murmured, dazed. 50 days. From a nobody who couldn't even qualify as a 1-star warrior to 5-star. Blowing through every rank like they were made of wet paper. Monster didn't cover it anymore. The dictionary didn't have a word for what I was. I could see her recalculating. Maybe she'd underestimated me? I reached up and gently traced my finger across her lips. Eyes full of the kind of confidence that's either inspiring or insane, depending on your perspective. If I walk 20 or 30 years worth of road in 1 month, what makes you think I can't reach Grandmaster before Yao even finds out what happened? She stared at me. My confidence was doing something to her heart rate. Could it actually be possible? Want to know the truth? I dropped my voice low. Warm. Magnetic. Let it curl right into her ear. She shivered. Her hands, which had been pushing me away, loosened on their own. 1 hour later, the training room temperature was still elevated. Lung Yu's hair was plastered to her forehead in messy strands. She was glaring at me with eyes that could melt steel, chest heaving, face crimson. Chunyi, you liar. She was practically grinding her teeth to dust. You said you were going to tell me your secret. And instead of telling me anything, you just, AGH. Remembering the things I'd whispered in her ear, she wanted to dig a hole to the center of the earth and live there forever. She, the great 6-star peak inspector, had been led around by the nose again, and cooperated. For an entire hour, I was sprawled on the alloy floor looking refreshed and extremely pleased with myself. Xiaoyu wifey, don't be mad. Listen, I sat up, face turning serious. I recently discovered something. When I'm with my women and I watch them train hard, I enter some kind of special enlightenment state. My power skyrockets. She stared at me like I'd just told her the earth was shaped like a donut. Are you kidding me? A 3-year OLD wouldn't believe that. Martial cultivation requires years of dedication. There's no such ridiculous shortcut. I spread my hands helplessly. I'm serious. Think about it. Why did I rocket from a non-warrior to 5-star while I was with Su Chinga? Every time I watched her practice her breathing technique, I'd enter this blessed clarity state, and my blood chi circulation would multiply. Lung Yu squinted suspiciously. This cultivation you're talking about. Which kind of cultivation exactly? I grinned. Couldn't help it. All kinds work. But the deep, intimate kind of guidance training? That has the best results. Get out. Her face went supernova red. She grabbed a wrist guard and whipped it at my head. I caught it, walked over, took her hand, and dropped the jokes. Xiaoyu, trust your husband. Train. Right now. I want to see what kind of surprise a 6-star peak warrior can give me. I'm exhausted. No energy. She refused instantly. Every muscle in her body was jelly. Her meridians were clear, but she was spiritually drained. Can't imagine why. That's exactly why you should practice your breathing technique. I'm talking about real, legitimate internal cultivation. You said you wanted to push for 7-star Grandmaster, right? This state you're in right now, completely relaxed, empty mind, lingering afterglow. Isn't this the perfect moment? She looked into my deep, genuinely serious eyes, and her resistance cracked. You really aren't lying? You actually triggered some kind of world bug. It sounded absolutely insane. But my promotion speed was also absolutely insane. She couldn't fully dismiss it. Try it and find out. You've got nothing to lose. Silence. She thought about it. Normally, she'd have 1 peak state day per month, where she'd take a top-tier breakthrough pill to try hammering at that Grandmaster barrier. Today had been a disaster in many ways, but thanks to the purple toxin situation and my assistance, her blood chi was more active than it had ever been. Fine. She pulled a small white jade bottle from a hidden compartment. Inside was a single ice blue pill radiating concentrated medicinal fragrance. The Mystic Ice Barrier Breaking Pill. It had cost her an entire year's worth of merit points. I'm running the Mystic Breathing technique now. Her face went solemn and cold. Full cultivation mode. She swallowed the pill. An explosion of freezing energy detonated inside her body. She closed her eyes, formed hand seals, and a thin layer of white frost materialized across her skin. I sat across from her and watched. And waited. 1 hour later, the cold energy filling the room gradually faded. The frost on Lung Yu's skin melted away, replaced by an almost translucent healthy glow. She exhaled one long breath that left a visible white trail in the air, stretching several meters before dissolving. Her eyes snapped open. Those ice blue irises were shining brighter than I'd ever seen. After an entire year, I finally improved again. She clenched her fist, feeling the thick, surging power flowing through her meridians. Usually when she took the barrier-breaking pill, most of the drug's energy got wasted smashing uselessly against the bottleneck. The actual gains were pathetic. But this time, in that perfectly empty, deeply relaxed state with a certain, lingering warmth still in her system, the pill's energy was absorbed perfectly. A full 1% increase. For her level, that was basically a miracle. But before she could even smile, she looked at me, and her expression froze. My blood chi was going berserk, rolling and churning like boiling ocean water. The tiger leopard thunder sound inside me wasn't rumbling anymore. It was cracking like divine lightning strikes from heaven. My aura shot up an entire major level in one instant, pushing visible ripples through the surrounding air. I sat there with my eyes closed, watching the system notifications cascade through my brain. Ding. Partner Su Chinga's training successful. 10x return triggered. Host gene development 1%. Ding. Partner Lung used training successful. 10x return triggered. Host gene development 10%. Current gene development 62.2%. 6-star. Su Chinga, bless her heart, was at home training while pregnant and just gave me a nice 1% bump. And Lung Yu? She gained 1%. I got 10% back. 10 times return. From a 6-star Peak Warriors breakthrough session, I went from 51.2% to 62.2% by literally sitting on the floor watching my woman meditate. This system is the greatest thing that has ever existed. Lung Yu was staring at me like she'd just witnessed someone divide by zero. I don't think she's going to call my cultivation theory ridiculous anymore. I opened my eyes. Golden light flickered in my pupils. Lung Yu's mouth was hanging open wide enough to park a car in. All that inspector dignity? Gone. Evaporated. She was staring at the pressure radiating off my body like she'd just watched a cat do algebra. This is impossible. This energy. It feels almost the same as mine. She was mumbling to herself, brain fully crashed. Blue screen of death. She'd spent an entire year of grinding, popped her most expensive pill, and gained a tiny sliver. Meanwhile, I sat on the floor watching her meditate for 1 hour and jumped to. Well, she was running the numbers. 5-star high tier. No. This aura felt like. 6-star? No. Absolutely not. Then she remembered all those ridiculous things I'd said earlier. As long as I'm with my woman, I level up fast, watching them train hard. I get epiphanies. Her entire worldview was being dragged across gravel at high speed. You. She pointed at me, finger trembling. Chunyi, did you really? Just level up again. I looked at her adorable. My reality is broken. Expression and couldn't help laughing. Shall you wifey see? I told you I wasn't lying. Watching you run the mystic breathing technique just now was incredibly inspiring. Instant epiphany. I grabbed her delicate hand and grinned. Some time passed. Then her expression changed. She tried to pinch my waist, the kind of angry wife pinch that could leave fingerprints in solid iron. But when her fingers made contact, it was like squeezing a block of ultra-dense superalloy. I didn't flinch, didn't even blink. Instead, the rebound force from my body made her fingertips go numb. That kind of physical density. She stared at me, completely lost. It really is 6-star, she whispered, and the shock hit her like a tsunami. A 20-year-old kid. No major faction backing him. No mountain of resources. 50 days from zero to where she'd spent 20 years climbing. If she hadn't watched it happen with her own eyes, she'd have called anyone who told her this a lunatic. Every single word this little man said was true. He really did have some heaven-defying ability to ignore bottlenecks and blast through them just by being near his women while they trained. That shadow of Grandmaster Yao that had been crushing her heart like a mountain? For the first time, a crack appeared in it. If I could keep this speed up, or better yet, if SHE trained hard enough, could I actually reach Grandmaster before Yao discovered the truth? You really are a monster, she laughed helplessly. Her cold, proud eyes were a mess of emotions now. Shock, awe, and underneath it all, a deep, helpless anticipation she couldn't fight anymore. So you see, I pulled her into my arms and twirled a strand of her pale blue hair around my finger for your dear husband to reach Grandmaster. As fast as possible, My lovely Xiaoyu teacher wife is going to need to train very hard from now on. She caught the subtext immediately and kicked me again. Go home already. She struggled to sit up, but her voice had all the threatening power of a sleepy kitten. If you stay any longer, your good wife at home is going to worry. I didn't let go. Instead, I buried my face in the curve of her neck, breathed in that cool, clean scent, and said in my most unreasonable voice, no rush. The wife in front of me is also a good wife. You. She shoved her face into the blanket and refused to come out. Full ostrich mode. I looked at this deadly 6-star warrior hiding under bedding like an embarrassed teenager, and my heart was basically fizzing with happiness. Eventually, a pair of misty ice blue eyes peeked out from the blanket's edge, locked onto me, and her voice came out soft with embarrassment. Chunyi, be honest with me. If I get pregnant, do you get a huge benefit from that too? I was halfway into putting my armor back on. My hands froze. This woman's intuition was terrifyingly accurate. Well, we'd already gone this far. She'd seen me level up in real time. No point hiding it. I sat back down on the bed, nodded openly. Yeah, Xiaoyu. My situation is special. It's not just the companion training. If my family's bloodline grows stronger, more children, my power-ups get even more insane. So, Suchinga's pregnancy was part of your getting stronger plan. Her eyes got complicated. There was even a tiny hint of jealous sadness in there. I grabbed her hand immediately. Dead serious. That happened naturally. But my feelings for her are real. And my feelings for you are real too. She yanked her hand back and dove under the blanket again. Leave. I don't want to look at you. You freak. I chuckled, patted the lump under the blanket, leaned down, and kissed it through the fabric. Okay, I'll head back for now. But later tonight, I'm coming back. Get out. A soft, muffled, completely non-threatening shout came from blanket land. I laughed all the way out the door. My body blurred and I was gone. The metal door clicked shut. Only then did Lung Yu emerge from her blanket fortress, staring at the empty room. That Ice Queen face was so red it could have heated the entire building. Her mind was racing. She definitely was not ready to go from ruthless combat inspector to mother. That was a mental gear shift she hadn't prepared for. But then she thought about my breakthrough speed again. 1 day to 6-star. At this rate, Grandmaster was right around the corner. And beyond that, Grandmaster. War God. Her hand drifted, almost on its own, to her flat, toned stomach. If she actually carried the child of a future war god, how terrifying would that kid's talent be? Maybe. It wouldn't be such a bad thing after all. Somewhere deep inside, the Ice Queen was already doing the math. And the math was saying, train harder. My system really is the gift that keeps on giving. I don't even have to convince my partners to cultivate. They convince themselves. Meanwhile, back at Lung Yu's training room, a certain Ice Queen was slapping her own burning cheeks and yelling at herself. Lung Yu, what are you thinking? Have you lost your mind? She shook off the baby fever, forced herself to focus. Yao Hailong and Wang Zheng's disappearance was going to cause a storm. She needed to be ready. 1 hour later, she was back in a clean inspector uniform, looking every bit the cold, untouchable authority figure. Nobody would ever guess that this woman had spent the afternoon doing extracurricular activities with a 20-year-old. She visited the hospital. Lin Xia was sitting by Luo Feng's bed looking like a ghost. Luo Feng was wrapped in alloy bandages, deep in a coma. Inspector Lung Yu. Lin Xia jumped up and almost collapsed from exhaustion. Lung Yu caught her. Sit down. You're heroes of the South Sky Bridge defense. The association will remember what you did. Lin Xia burst into tears. Ma'am, young Master Yao, and Inspector Wang. They. Lung Yu's eyes went cold and sharp. Lin Xia, what exactly do you remember? Lin Xia grabbed her hair, shaking. Her memories were a shattered mess. Between the trauma and the Beast Emperor's psychic pressure wave, her brain had basically hit the emergency delete button. I remember. Inspector Wang brought young Master Yao. He was poisoned, acting crazy. He told me to come to him. I refused. Then his men pinned Luo Feng to the wall. I was so scared. Then the purple fire exploded everywhere. My head felt like it was splitting open, and I blacked out. Lung Yu exhaled quietly. Perfect. In that level of chaos and mental assault, a fresh 2-star warrior's memory was Swiss cheese. Lin Xia saw nothing useful after a certain point. Lung Yu patted her shoulder gently. Calm. Motherly. Completely in control. Lin Xia, it's okay. It's over. Then, carefully. Chen Yi and I were fighting our way back and never found your group. As for Wang Zheng and the others you mentioned, I never saw them either. The rescue team's report says the scene was devastating. Apart from your group, there was nobody else there. Everything you've told me, I'll report honestly. Your victims. Focus on healing. Don't think about anything else. Understood? Understood. Thank you, ma'am. Lin Xian nodded desperately, clinging to Lung Yu's words like a lifeline. Scene clean. Story set. Alibi locked. My woman handles cover-ups better than I do. That's wifey material right there. Now, my part of the evening. I walked through the door of apartment 3201 at Splendid Gardens. Su Chinga was pacing at the entrance like she'd been wearing a groove in the floor. The second the door opened, she launched herself into my chest like a guided missile. You're finally back. I wrapped my arms around my soft, warm wife and buried my nose in her hair. Heaven. Wifey, I'm home. Today absolutely destroyed your husband. I glanced at her slightly rounded belly and grinned. But I brought back good news. I've got a big surprise for you. She snuggled deeper into my chest, breathing in my scent, soaking up that sense of safety. Then her cute little nose twitched. Twice. Her eyebrows knotted together like a pretzel. Yes, I had showered. Very thoroughly. With lots of soap. But apparently underneath the body wash, there was still the faintest trace of a certain cold, elegant fragrance that definitely did not belong to any store-bought product. High-level warriors have such pure blood chi that their bodies naturally produce a unique scent. And Lung Yu's scent was distinctive. Su Chinga's brain instantly replayed the video call from earlier. Pale blue hair. Frosty, beautiful face. Standing suspiciously close to her husband. Chen Wai, she ripped herself out of my arms. Face red. Eyes blazing with jealousy. Wifey, what's wrong? I scratched my head with my best confused puppy expression. Didn't you say you missed me? Miss you my foot. She went straight for the kill. Her delicate fingers found the soft spot on my waist and executed a perfect 180-degree death twist. HSSSS. Look, I'm a 6-star warrior now. My body is basically made of reinforced concrete. But in front of your own wife, you have to sell it. I sucked air through my teeth like she was killing me. Wifey, go easy. It's gonna come off. It's gonna come off. Good. Then maybe you'll stop running around collecting women. She locked eyes with me, teeth clenched, cheeks puffed out. You said you were finishing paperwork. That took half a day. And you took a shower too? Fine. Whatever, the shower I can accept. But this icy cold perfume smell on you. Where did that come from? Don't you dare tell me Inspector Lung Yu was guiding you again and it just rubbed off by accident. My wife is a 1-star warrior. Her combat power is negligible, but her jealousy detection radar, more accurate than a grandmaster's spiritual sense. She could sniff out infidelity through 3 layers of soap and a military-grade shower. I was sweating internally, but looking at her slightly rounded belly, I made a decision. I'd keep this hidden a little longer, until I reached Grandmaster. Then I'd come clean. Was it wrong? Yes, I admit it. I'm guilty. I committed the crime that every man in history has committed. But once I'm a Grandmaster, everything becomes normal. What Grandmaster doesn't have multiple wives? It's practically a job requirement. I grabbed her hands with my most sincere, apologetic smile. My brilliant, perceptive wife. It really was just guidance. Teacher Lung Yu got badly hurt saving me. I was helping her heal. That's why it took so long. Su Chinga froze. She studied my very honest, very sincere, very rehearsed eyes. The jealousy didn't fully leave, but she knew the battlefield had been genuinely dangerous. Really just healing? Of course. Look, your husband came out of it even stronger. I had breakthroughs during the healing process. To prove I hadn't been wasting time, I released just a sliver of 6-star aura. Boom. Even that tiny bit froze the air in the entire apartment. Su Chinga's eyes went dinner plate wide. This energy. How did you get so much stronger? Wifey, this is the surprise I mentioned. I scooped her up in my arms and strode toward the bedroom. Hey, what are you? Put me down. You haven't even washed your hands. She squealed in protest, but still wrapped her arms around my neck. That's what I thought. Today's scorecard. Survived a beast tide, blew up a bridge, accidentally decapitated a grandmaster's son, leveled up twice, managed 2 jealous women, and I'm still standing. Being the protagonist is exhausting work. The bedroom curtains slid shut automatically. Very romantic. Very dramatic. I laid Su Chinga gently on the big European-style bed, and she immediately forgot about being jealous. That aura just now. Did you break through to 4-star? Her eyes were sparkling like a kid on Christmas morning. The whole room's gravity changed. I could barely breathe. I sat down, held her hand, and dropped the bomb casually. Wifey, this is your surprise. My gene development passed 60%. I'm 6-star now. What? She literally bounced out of my arms like a startled cat. I pulled her right back. 6-star. In South River City, a 6-star warrior is basically senior leadership material. The kind of person who makes entire organizations nervous. You were 3-star yesterday. You healed someone and jumped to 6. Her brain was making dial-up internet noises. Xingyi, are you joking? Ahem. Wifey, you need to believe in your husband. I'm aiming for Grandmaster. I looked at her with burning conviction. After you have the baby, our family of 3, no, our future big family, is going to become the most powerful martial dynasty ever. She glared at me. You want me to birth you a whole dynasty? Of course. My wife needs to give me a full soccer team. Her face went tomato red. Furious and embarrassed. Who's giving you a soccer team, you big jerk? Your cultivation speed is insane enough already. Exactly. So we need to start training now. I'll supervise. She rolled her eyes, but she wasn't stupid. The world was dangerous. Getting stronger meant keeping our baby safer. She obediently drank the purple crystal nutrient solution I handed her. The icy, spirit-rich liquid settled in her stomach, and within moments, a soft purple glow shimmered across her skin. So much energy, she marveled, then crossed her legs and began running the thunder sound breathing technique. I sat next to her with the most satisfied grin in human history. Yes, just like that. Train hard, wifey. Your husband will just sit here and collect the rewards. The grind life chose me. Buzz. My phone vibrated. Message from Lung Yu. Lin Xia and Luo Feng say they saw Inspector Wang Zheng and Grandmaster Yao's son Yao Hailong, but they were injured and lost consciousness during the chaos. When rescue woke them up, Wang Zheng and Yao Hailong had disappeared. Grandmaster Yao has already distributed flyers and sent his disciples to investigate their whereabouts. Have you seen them? Classic Lung Yu. Completely professional tone. Zero emotion. She was treating this like official communication in case anyone intercepted it. I replied immediately. No, 7-star Grandmaster wants to investigate? Go ahead. As long as Su Chinga and Lung Yu keep grinding, by the time that old man finds a single clue, I'll probably already be standing at 7-star myself. The race was on. Meanwhile, across the city, in a luxury penthouse suite of a 5-star hotel, a middle-aged man in a white traditional robe stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, rolling 2 metal balls that leaked faint purple chi between his fingers. His eyes were sharp as a hawk's, staring down at the war-scarred city below. Behind him, several Martial Association executives stood drenched in cold sweat. My son was last seen near the South Sky Bridge ruins. His voice was calm. The kind of calm that makes your knees want to buckle. Why, yes, sir. The purple flame Thunder Eagle's interference knocked out all surveillance. Inspector Wang and young Master Yao just vanished. Vanished? The man turned around. His eyes went dark. I want him found. Alive or dead. If he died in the chaos, that's fate. But if someone killed him, his gaze turned razor-sharp. The air in the room seemed to get sucked away. That I will find the killer. And everyone connected to them dies. 7-star Grandmaster aura exploded outward. Every glass window on the entire floor shattered simultaneously. Cool. No pressure. Back at Lung Yu's private training room, my dear teacher girlfriend Wai Fing had just finished a solo cultivation session and was not happy about it. Without me there, her training felt like pushing a boulder uphill. Slow. Frustrating. After experiencing that rocket ship breakthrough earlier, normal cultivation felt like trying to fill a swimming pool with an eyedropper. That little bastard. She was biting her lip and cursing me internally. He said he'd come back after finishing up. It had been hours. Not even a shadow. Men. They're all the same. Pull up their pants and pretend you don't exist. Just as she was reaching maximum resentment levels, ding-dong. The doorbell shattered the silence. She practically launched herself off the meditation cushion, sprinted to the door. But the instant her hand touched the button, she slammed the brakes on her face muscles, swallowed the smile that was trying to escape, took a deep breath, and reinstalled the Ice Queen operating system. The door slid open. My stupid, grinning face appeared. "What are you doing here?" she asked, voice cold as a glacier. I didn't bother answering. I walked in, locked the gravity door behind me, and wrapped my arms around her waist before she could protest. My familiar, hot-blooded warmth engulfed her completely. She went stiff for exactly half a second. Then her entire body went boneless against my chest like someone pulled her power cord. She was, in her own words, completely hopeless. The moment I got close, every wall she'd ever built just evaporated. MMPH, my lips were already on hers before she could start yelling. A long time later, we separated. She was crimson-faced, hair messy, hitting me weakly with her fist. "Are you insane? I told you not to." "MMPH, stop doing that." Protest denied. Much later. She gave me a resentful look while I was getting dressed, then kicked me. "I'm not ready to be a mother. You keep doing this. What if I actually get pregnant?" I turned around, looked at her pouting face, and gently fixed her messy hair. Sometimes silence is the best answer. "Fine. Forget it. Let's talk business." She gave up being angry at me. It never worked anyway. Her expression turned serious. "The investigation into Yao Hailong and Wang Zheng won't stay quiet for long. Lin Xia was just taken in by the association's investigation team." Her voice grew heavy. "Luo Feng is still in a coma at the hospital under heavy monitoring. The investigators already came to question me once. I used my inspector authority to push them back, but that trick only works so many times." The clock was ticking. A Grandmaster's wrath was building on one side. My cultivation was skyrocketing on the other. Question was simple. Which one reached critical mass first? "My money's on me. It's always on me." I narrowed my eyes. "They suspect us?" "No. They suspect everyone." Lung Yu shook her head. "What we need right now is a big enough shield." She locked eyes with me, dead serious. "I already submitted your name to the Provincial Martial Association's Genius Training Camp. It has 3 groups, C for 3-star and below, B for mid-tier 4 and 5-star. I originally filed you for C because you were supposed to still be 3-star. But then you went and turned into a 6-star freak in one afternoon." She took a deep breath. "I just used my personal clearance to resubmit your file under MY name, fast-tracked to Group A. Group A is a national-level program. The provincial association sends their own people to test you. Once they accept you, you're officially registered as a future Grandmaster candidate. At that point, even if Grandmaster Yao suspects you, without hard evidence, he wouldn't dare openly touch you." I understood exactly what she was doing. She was betting her career and her reputation to protect me. "Xiao Yu wifey. Thank you." Ring ring. My phone went off. Encrypted landline number. Lung Yu saw it too. Her expression sharpened. I answered. A cold male voice. "Is this Mr. Chenyi? I'm a superintendent from the South River Martial Association Investigation Division. We need you to cooperate with some inquiries. Are you home? Our people will pick you up in 5 minutes." "I'm not home," I said, frowning. "Ask me whatever you need over the phone. It's better to verify in person." "You're not home." "Mr. Chenyi, I remind you that South River City is currently under wartime martial law. The consequences of lying to the investigation division are more than you can handle. Where exactly are you? Threatening me?" "That's cute." Before I could respond, a cool, pale hand snatched the phone right out of my grip. Lung Yu, cheeks still slightly flushed from earlier activities, hit speakerphone and transformed into the scariest woman on the planet in exactly 0 seconds. "This is South River Martial Association Inspector Lung Yu." Dead silence on the other end. Then a noticeably softer voice. "Inspector Lung Yu? Why are you?" "Chenyi is my student. He is currently undergoing closed-door intensive training in my private cultivation room in preparation for the Provincial Genius Training Camp selection." Her voice could have flash-frozen lava. "Were you just threatening my student? Consequences he can't handle?" The guy started stammering. "Inspector, we're just following orders to verify the disappearances from the Gold Mountain battlefield. Chenyi is a person of interest. He needs to be brought in separately. It's a critical training period. If you have questions, come to my private training room and ask them here." "Inspector, that's not standard procedure." "Procedure?" Lung Yu's eyebrow shot up. Her voice could have cut diamonds. "Do you have an investigation warrant? Signed by the association president?" "No." "Then on what authority are you dragging away a potential warrior being prepared for a provincial-level talent selection? You want to ask questions? Come here. I will be present. If there's nothing else, Don't call this number again. Click. She hung up and tossed the phone onto the couch like it was garbage. Then she turned to me, exhaled, and her killer aura softened just slightly. You absolutely cannot leave now. If you run, they'll think you're guilty, and you can't let them take you alone. Those interrogation people can skin you alive even if you're innocent. She walked to the weapon rack, picked up her spear, her gorgeous side profile sharp and fierce. You? Stay right here. As long as I'm standing. Even if they bring the president's personal signed letter, nobody is pulling you out of this room. Mama Bear mode. Activated. My heart did something warm and stupid. I walked over and grabbed her delicate hands. Xiao Yu wifey, you look so beautiful when you're angry. You're so good to me. You. Her carefully rebuilt Ice Queen persona shattered instantly. Apple red face. Total system failure. She yanked her hands away and spat. Can you be serious for 1 second? Grandmaster Yao could make his move at any time and you're flirting with me? Shameless. It's called having a good mindset, I said, sliding closer. Besides, with such a powerful wife protecting me, what's there to be scared of? Who is your wife? Go cultivate. She pointed furiously at the meditation cushion across the room. The investigation team will be here soon. They won't just ask questions, they'll bring lie detectors, maybe even a psychic warrior to read your emotions. You need to stabilize your blood chi and show zero cracks. I dropped a smile and nodded. She was right, but I wasn't worried. I sat down on the cushion, started cycling Tiger Leopard Thunder sound slowly, and said calmly, Relax, Xiao Yu. I've killed plenty of people. My poker face is solid. She stared at me sitting there all calm and unbothered, and shook her head in defeat. This man. Love him and hate him. Sometimes at the same time. 30 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Inspector Lung Yu, Investigation Superintendent Wu San, here with a team to verify information. Lung Yu inhaled deeply, reinstalled the Ice Goddess software, and said in a voice that could. Freeze hell. Enter. The heavy alloy door slid open. 3 people walked in. Leading them was Wu San, a 40-something guy with a hooked nose and eyes like a poisonous snake. 4-star peak aura. The kind of face that said, I enjoy making people uncomfortable for a living. Behind him, a young investigator carrying a silver metal briefcase. Lie detector equipment. Fun. And next to him, a short-haired woman with faint purple light flickering in her eyes. 3-star psychic warrior. Her entire job was feeling emotional fluctuations and spotting mental cracks. A human lie detector, a machine lie detector, and a guy whose whole personality was intimidation. The welcome committee. Wu Sun scanned the training room. His eyes paused on the messy floor and the white scratch marks my spear had left on the ground earlier during. Training. Yes, definitely training. Very vigorous, athletic, completely professional training. Then he turned to Lung Yu and gave a small bow. Inspector Lung Yu, duty calls. Apologies for interrupting your teaching. Lung Yu sat in the upper seat, spear planted beside her, radiating Arctic energy. She didn't even look up. Since you know it's an interruption, make it quick. My time is valuable. Wu Sun forced a dry laugh, then turned to look at me. His gaze landed on the 3-star badge on my chest. I could practically hear his internal monologue. Just a 3-star kid. If he's hiding something, this'll be easy. Oh buddy, you have no idea who you're trying to crack. I sat on my meditation cushion, blood chi perfectly controlled, heartbeat steady as a metronome, face calm as a frozen lake. Bring your lie detector. Bring your psychic. Bring your scary snake eyes. I just fought 10,000 monsters, decapitated a grandmaster's heir, leveled up to 6-star, and managed 2 jealous women in 1 afternoon. Your little interrogation is the most relaxing thing that's happened to me all day. Mr. Yi, according to survivors Lin Xia and Luo Feng, Inspector Wang Zheng brought young master Yao Hailong to your defensive zone before the South Sky Bridge collapsed. After the battle, Inspector Wang, young master Yao, and 3 accompanying mid-rank warriors all vanished. Wu Xin stepped forward, radiating pressure, staring straight into my eyes. You were the closest person to their last known location, and the only conscious combatant rescued from that area. When and where did you last see them? I opened my eyes slowly. Tiger Leopard Thunder sound was humming at the lowest possible frequency inside me, locking my heartbeat, blood pressure, and adrenaline into absolute flatline stability. I never saw them. Never saw them. Wu Sun snorted and gave the female investigator a look. She stepped forward. Purple pupils glowed softly. A delicate wave of psychic energy reached toward me, scanning for any emotional spike, any flicker of guilt, fear, or deception. Here's the thing these people didn't know. A 3-star psychic warrior can read emotions up to about 4-star peak level. I was 6-star. She was trying to read a steel vault with a magnifying glass. The bridge was exploding constantly. Smoke everywhere. And the purple flame thunder eagle's pressure. That's an 8-star beast emperor. Surviving under that kind of spiritual assault was already a miracle. You think I had time to watch other people's travel plans? I looked Wu Sun dead in the eyes. Calm. Logical. Bulletproof. Wu Sun's expression darkened, but the psychic woman leaned over to his ear. Team leader, no issues. His mental fluctuations are abnormally stable. Zero signs of deception, abnormally stable. She said it like it was suspicious. Lady, if you'd had the day I've had, nothing would rattle you either. Superintendent Wu, Lung Yu's voice cut in like a blade of ice. Your own psychic says there's no problem. Are we done? This is MY training room, and interrogating my student like a criminal in MY space is more than a little disrespectful. Wu Sun turned to her, jaw tight. Inspector Lung Yu, apologies. We're acting on Grandmaster Yao's orders. Are you using Grandmaster Yao to pressure me? Lung Yu stood up. Her spear rang out a clear, high note. 6-star peak killing intent flooded the room like a tidal wave. Wu Sun stumbled backward half a step. His face went pale. The intimidation act he'd been running crumbled like wet cardboard. If there are no issues, we'll take our leave. The 3 investigators practically speed-walked out the door. The moment the lock clicked shut, Lung Yu turned to me with a complicated expression. I lunged at her. She went completely soft. Couldn't push me off if she tried. Skip 10,000 words. Door sealed. Room temperature somehow higher than when 3 investigators and their equipment were crowding the space. Another half-day gone. Evening sunlight slanted through the window, painting golden stripes across the alloy floor and the general devastation of what used to be a tidy training room. Chen Yiyu, you absolute menace. Lung Yu was a beautiful disaster. Those long, elegant legs were trembling slightly. She was hitting my chest with her fists like a kitten attacking a brick wall. 0 damage, maximum adorableness. Between the exhaustion and the outrage, her voice had lost all authority and gained that bone-melting, whiny quality that was honestly more dangerous than any weapon she owned. I'll say it again. I'm not ready to be a mother. You're doing this on purpose. I caught her little hands, held them gently, and looked at her with the most serious expression I could manage. Her ice-cold, beautiful face turned red all the way to her earlobes. My explanation was replaying in her head on loop. Am I really going to have a baby for a man this much younger than me? Her eyes filled with a struggle I'd never seen before. She bit her lip, ripped herself free, and turned her back to me. Her voice was cold but shaky. Stop talking. No, I'm cultivating right now. She dropped into meditation posture instantly. 5 hearts facing heaven, trying desperately to enter deep focus. Her mind was absolute chaos. She kept thinking about what I'd said, and about something else entirely. I'm almost 50 years old, she sighed internally. High-level warriors age slowly and live long, sure, but peak fertility doesn't last forever. If she never reached 7-star Grandmaster, her prime was already running out. And in martial arts common knowledge, babies born when parents are at peak strength and blood chi vitality have the best genetic talent. While I'm still at 6-star peak. If I actually had one. She scared herself with that thought. She slapped her own burning cheeks internally. Lung Yu, you're the inspector of the South River Martial Association. Have you lost it? You're sitting here thinking about babies? I sat behind her, watching her shoulders tremble and her ear tips glow red like little signal lights, and I couldn't keep the smile off my face. My dear Ice Queen teacher could say, no, all day long, but her body language was screaming, maybe. You don't sit there vibrating with baby fever in full ostrich mode if the answer is. Actually, no. I coughed lightly. Xiao Yu wifey, given the current situation, it seems like I'll need to stay here under your personal protection for the next few days. Without turning around, voice icy. Obviously. Unless you want to be dragged into an interrogation room. I let out a long, dramatic sigh. I guess there's no choice then. Let me just video call my little wifey Su Chinga at home real quick. Let her know that training is too intense, so I won't be coming home for a few days. Tell her to be a good girl and cultivate by herself and not miss me too much. Get out. She spun around. Her eyes were literally on fire. The mere thought of me making lovey-dovey video calls to Su Chinga in front of her made the vinegar in her heart erupt like a geyser. Her body blurred. One gorgeous leg traced a devastating arc through the air and planted itself directly in my midsection. I flew across the room. Worth it. Absolutely worth it. Every single time. 1 week passed. And what a week it was. Let me paint you the picture from multiple angles, because this was happening all at once. First, the investigation team. Wu Sun, hook-nosed snake-eyes guy, was drowning. His desk was buried under a mountain of reports, and his face looked like a thundercloud that hadn't slept in 7 days. Still nothing. His voice was shot. Sir, we verified over 1,000 people. Deep-checked over 100 warriors who were in the western defense zone before the bridge collapsed. But his investigator swallowed hard. Key witness Lin Xia has been through psychological lie detection and psychic-guided recall. Her story never changes. Everything was chaos. The Beast Emperor's pressure scrambled her brain. She saw Wang Zheng arrive with young Master Yao. Then, she blacked out. She has zero memory of what happened after. Luo Feng, still in a coma. Medical team says his spiritual seat took massive damage. Even when he wakes up, large chunks of his memory will probably be gone. And Lung Yu and Chun Yi, the investigator shifted uncomfortably. Inspector Lung Yu provided a detailed battle report. Chun Yi's statement matches perfectly. They were at the bridge gap fighting the beast tide, several kilometers from the factory ruins where Wang Zheng was. Smoke, fire, Beast Emperor interference. They had every reason to see nothing. Wu Sun slammed his desk. Evidence. I need evidence. Everything pointed to one conclusion. Yao Hailong and Wang Zheng died in the chaos. Eaten by beasts. Maybe vaporized by the Thunder Eagle's purple fire. But a certain someone was not going to accept that answer. At the fanciest private recovery center in South River City. Boom. Grandmaster level pressure detonated. Every piece of expensive redwood furniture in the room disintegrated into sawdust. Grandmaster Yao stared down at Wu San, who was kneeling on the floor shaking like a leaf in a hurricane. This is your answer. His voice was so calm it was terrifying. My son, a living, breathing person, disappeared under your watch. And you tell me probably died in the chaos? My lord, please. We sealed 50 kilometers of river downstream. We sent diving warrior squads. But the Beast Emperor's purple flame energy is still contaminating the water. The corrosion destroys all detection equipment. And water-type monsters drawn by all the blood have made searching. Silence. Grandmaster Yao turned, eyes like scalpels. I don't care about interference. I don't care about monsters. If you can't find my son in those ruins, every last one of you useless failures will join him. Grandmaster's order. Deploy all Yao family private forces. Take over the downstream search operation, and compile a list of everyone who was in the western defense zone that day. Every single name. Put them all under surveillance. He walked to the window, staring at the distant river. His expression was pure venom. I don't believe in fate. I believe in my instincts. If my son is dead, whoever was near him during that time is the killer. Cool. Very cool. A 7-star grandmaster with unlimited resources, private armies, and a grudge that could level cities was now looking for me personally. No pressure. Meanwhile, at our penthouse apartment, Su Chinga was sitting cross-legged by the huge floor-to-ceiling window, sipping a stupidly expensive purple crystal nutrient solution and running the thunder sound breathing technique. But there was worry between her eyebrows that wouldn't go away, because her husband had been living in another woman's private training room for an entire week. Inspector Lung Yu, the famous ice goddess of South River City, Su Chinga's heart was a mess. Before, she'd thought someone like Lung Yu would never look at Chun Yi twice. But now, with the talent I'd shown and my 6-star power, any female warrior would lose her mind. He says he needs to stay under the inspector's protection to avoid Grandmaster Yao's investigation. Ugh, Su Chinga, stop being jealous. Him being alive is what matters. She took a deep breath and went back to meditating. Good girl. Keep cultivating, wifey. Your husband appreciates the passive income. Now, the real action. Lung Yu's private training room. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Lung Yu was attacking me like an angry kitten in a blender. Kicking, punching. Her eyes were red and glassy, tears threatening to spill, a cocktail of embarrassment, fury, and something she absolutely refused to name out loud. What had happened in the last week? Well, let's just say the training room got a lot of use. Not all of it was martial arts. Rumble. The tiger-leopard thunder sound inside me had become so dense it was almost solid. Deep in my bone marrow, vibrations made every pore on my body flare open. 62.2%, 63%, 65.2%. The 7-star Grandmaster threshold, the heavenly chasm that stopped 99.99% of warriors forever, was now just one thin membrane away. 1 week, from 51% to 65%. By sitting in a room with Lung Yu, I grabbed her soft little hand mid-swing and pulled her back into my arms. Xiao Yu wifey, stop hitting me. What if you hurt our baby? You planned this from the start. She collapsed against my chest, all the fight draining out of her instantly. She could feel it. My aura was blazing like the sun now, impossibly dense and powerful. Her eyes went wide. You broke through again. Yep. I told you, as long as wifey Lung Yu gives it her all, your husband reaching Grandmaster is just a matter of time. I tapped her nose gently. She went quiet. All that shame and anger, which had been boiling over just seconds ago, slowly settled down as the reality of my power level sank in. If she could really witness a 20-year-old become a Grandmaster, standing right beside him as it happened, then having his baby, fine, she'd accept it. She suddenly hugged me back, tight. Her eyes turned deadly sharp. Chunyi, remember this. You've taken everything from me. If you can't become a Grandmaster, if you can't shield us from Grandmaster Yao's rage, I will haunt you, even as a ghost. Forever. I looked into those fierce ice-blue eyes and smiled. Relax, Xiao Yu wifey. Grandmaster Yao won't be a threat much longer. 65.2% and climbing. His son was fish food. His investigation was hitting dead ends. And every night, while he sat in his luxury sweet-crushing furniture and screaming at subordinates, I was in his rival's training room getting stronger at a speed that would make gods jealous. The countdown was on, and I was winning. At the investigation division's records room, some young analyst was staring at his screen like he'd just seen a ghost. Team leader, look at Chun Ye's level progression. Wu's son dragged himself over, annoyed. What's the fuss? He's just some lucky rookie. No, sir. Look. The analyst's finger was literally shaking. 2 months ago, pre-warrior. Half a month ago, certified 2-star. 4 days ago, certified 3-star with mid-tier punch force. And that's not even the weird part. He swallowed. Our surveillance team says when he walked out of Inspector Lung Yu's training room earlier, the blood chi he accidentally leaked made our observer feel suppressed. That is not 3-star energy. Wu Sin's eyes shrank to pinpoints. His brain kicked into overdrive. That kind of growth rate meant one of two things. Either this kid was a once-in-a-millennium freak, or he was hiding some kind of heaven-defying treasure. But more importantly, Wu's son was a man on a deadline. Grandmaster Yao's patience was running out. If he didn't produce a suspect soon, he would be the one eating that Grandmaster-level fury. Evidence. Who needed evidence? He just needed someone suspicious and abnormal enough to throw at Grandmaster Yao's feet. His eyes went cold and calculating. 1 hour later, penthouse suite. Wu's son knelt before Grandmaster Yao, presenting a rush report with trembling hands and barely contained excitement. My lord, we found something. This new warrior named Chunyi. His performance during the Gold Mountain battle was extremely abnormal. His power growth completely defies martial arts logic, and his location overlaps heavily with where young Master Yao disappeared. Grandmaster Yao looked at my upgrade chart, from pre-warrior to 3-star in barely over a month, and his eyebrow twitched. Interesting. Pre-warrior to 3-star in a month? This kid's hiding more than just clues about my son. There are secrets on him. My lord, he's been hiding in Inspector Lung Yu's private training room. She's 6-star peak and very protective. Lung Yu? Grandmaster Yao laughed. The kind of laugh that makes furniture explode. Which it did. Every piece of solid wood in the room instantly became sawdust under his surging purple aura. Below 7-star, everyone is an ant. 1 Lung Yu? 10 Lung Yus. If I want someone, who dare stop me? Go. Take my personal guard. Go to Lung Yu's quarters. Bring that Chunyi to me. Great. Wonderful. A 7-star Grandmaster just personally ordered my arrest. Back at Lung Yu's training room, Her phone buzzed violently. Message from Vice President Shun. 1 hour ago, the investigation team rush compiled a file on Chunyi. Chinwai move. Now, Lung Yu yanked me to my feet despite her entire body being sore from training. Where? The association headquarters building. She was throwing on armor while talking at maximum speed. Grandmaster Yao is a tyrant, but even he won't openly break rules in the main headquarters with everyone watching. And she bit her lip. I just got an unofficial notice from the Genius Training Camp Group A. My emergency endorsement plus your insane data caught their attention. The Provincial Association is sending someone today. Once they arrive, you become a nationally protected talent. The Yao family can be as powerful as they want, but they're not bigger than the country. I grabbed my Fortress Breaker spear and nodded. Lead the way, Xiao Yu wifey. Our heavy hovercar tore through South River City streets like a dark blue lightning bolt and dove into the headquarters' underground parking garage. We were out before it fully stopped. Side by side, we walked to the private elevator. In that narrow, quiet space, with nothing but the sound of our breathing, I reached over and took her hand. She flinched, tried to pull away, but I held firm. She turned and found me looking at her with steady, calm eyes. She stopped struggling, but I could feel something she probably didn't want me to notice. Her palm was covered in cold sweat. This woman, who'd killed people without blinking, who'd faced beast tides without flinching, was terrified. The pressure of a 7-star grandmaster coming for us was pushing her to her limit. I squeezed her hand a little tighter. Ding. 3rd floor. She ripped her hand away like she'd touched a hot stove, spun around, and hit me with the angriest glare. The "we are in public" glare. Then she inhaled, rebooted Ice Queen mode, and strutted out of the elevator like she owned the building. The VIP lounge was all hand-woven wool carpets and premium sandalwood incense. Sitting on the leather sofas was Vice President Shun Rushuang, wearing a fitted dark blue qipao that left very little to the imagination. She looked up elegantly when she heard us approach. Her eyes landed on my 3-star badge for exactly 1 second. A knowing smile appeared. You're here? Then her gaze shifted to Lung Yu, voice carrying that special lazy, meaningful tone that only women use with each other. How are you doing, Xiao Yu? As a longtime rival and best friend, Shinru Shuang was reading Lung Yu like an open book. The cold exterior was the same, but those eyes had a certain glow, and her walk was a tiny bit stiff. Shinru Shuang's gaze ping-ponged between me and Lung Yu exactly once. Her internal alarm went off immediately. Had this iceberg actually been melted by this young man? Lung Yu dodged Shinru Shuang's X-ray vision and sat on the opposite sofa, voice crisp but urgent. When do the provincial people arrive? The investigation team is already targeting him. Grandmaster Yao could force his way in at any moment. The expedited application went through. The supervising officer arrives today. Shinru Shuang glanced at me. After all, a freak who jumped 3 levels in 1 month has those old monsters at the provincial level very interested. And right on cue, because today's schedule apparently didn't have enough tension, a phone started ringing. Timing. It's always the timing. You know, I used to think, below Grandmaster, everyone is an ant, was just trash talk. Now I had a Grandmaster sending his personal army to grab me, a provincial supervisor racing to protect me, and 2 women with complicated feelings about me sitting in the same room. The ants were having a very eventful day. My phone rang. I raised an eyebrow, glanced at the screen, gave Lung Yu and Shun Rushuang a look, and hit speaker. Hello. Wu Sen's voice came through like a frozen knife, dripping with barely contained glee. Xinyi, where are you? Grandmaster Yao has personally issued a summons. You are suspected of direct involvement in young Master Yao's disappearance. Report your location immediately and submit to interrogation. Grandmaster Yao's personal order? I smiled. Superintendent Wu, the city just got through a war. Everyone's busy, but your productivity? Top notch. Shut up, Wu's son screamed through the phone. Hiding behind Lung Yu won't help you. Grandmaster Yao says anyone who obstructs the investigation will be dealt with. I suggest you cooperate before we use force. Shinru Shuang's beautiful eyes flashed cold. She tapped the leather armrest with one elegant finger, her voice quiet but cutting straight through steel. Superintendent Wu, what impressive authority you have. Dead silence on the other end. Wu-sun clearly did not expect the vice president to be sitting right there. Vice President Shin, His bravado deflated instantly. But with Grandmaster Yao behind him, he puffed himself back up. Vice President, this is Grandmaster Yao's private order. Chun Yi is highly suspicious and must be brought in. Brought where? Shin Rushuang's laugh could have frozen boiling water. This is the South River Martial Association headquarters. Mr. Chun Yi is currently here as our association's special class talent, awaiting review by provincial experts. Grandmaster Yao may have high status, but inside the association, even he follows the rules. Wu Xin choked. Lung Yu grabbed the phone. Voice so cold actual frost might have formed on the microphone. You want to arrest someone in this building? Fine. Bring a headquarters administrative enforcement order. Otherwise, have Grandmaster Yao tell me himself. Wu Sun, if you dare come take him by force, I cannot guarantee you'll walk out of this building alive. Click. She hung up and tossed the phone on the table like garbage. Then she turned to me, worry flickering behind her eyes for half a second before she covered it with attitude. What are you staring at? You're quite the hot commodity now. Even grandmasters are thinking about you. I grinned. Watching these two top-tier women of South River City team up to verbally destroy people on my behalf? This was the most comfortable I'd felt all week. Both of you teach. Cough. Teachers are so kind to me. This student truly doesn't know how to repay you. Shinru Shuang gave me a look that said, I see everything. Then her gaze slid to Lung Yu's slightly reddier tips, and she sighed softly. Indeed, hard to repay. Xiao Yu here has bet her entire career on you. But Chen Yi, you were remarkably calm just now on that call. You must be quite confident in your own strength, sharp woman. She'd noticed that when Grandmaster was mentioned, my blood chi didn't waver even a fraction. No fear, no spike, nothing. That kind of mental stability isn't normal even for 5-star warriors. Lady, you have no idea how calm I am right now. Meanwhile, Wu Sun was standing frozen with a dead phone in his hand, knuckles white, face the color of spoiled milk. Sitting next to him was a mountain of a man. Gray tank top, arms like they were forged in a weapons factory, crisscrossed with horrifying scars. The blood smell radiating off this guy was thick enough to taste. This was Iron Butcher Li Zhan, Grandmaster Yao's right hand. 6-star peak warrior, South River City's most feared killer. Li Zhan's eyes cut into Wu Sun like rusty blades. Well, where is he? Wu Sun's forehead was dripping. Lord Li, the kid is hiding on the 3rd floor VIP area of association headquarters. That crazy woman Lung Yu is there. And worse, Vice President Shen Rushuang showed up too. They're claiming he needs to stay for some provincial talent selection review. They won't hand him over. Shen Rushuang, Li Zhan laughed. Cold. Ugly. He stood up, and his muscles made actual cracking sounds, like someone loading a gun made of meat. He grabbed the massive alloy cleaver leaning against the wall. The Grandmaster's son is missing. That's the biggest deal there is. Talent selection? Special class? In front of the Grandmaster's rage, all of that is garbage. Wu's son shrank into his collar. Lord Li, that is the headquarters building. If we force our way in publicly, the provincial authorities. Provincial? Li Zhan looked at him sideways, mouth twisted into a cruel grin. Who even knows if this provincial selection is real? Besides, Grandmaster Yao's connections at the provincial level are stronger. Move out. Everyone. We're going to headquarters to collect our guest. I don't believe Shin Rushuang and Lung Yu would actually go to war with a Grandmaster over some random kid. He stormed out, and over a dozen elite Yao family warriors fell in behind him like a kill squad. Weapons drawn. Murder energy cranked to maximum. Heading straight for us. Back in the VIP lounge, Shin Rushuang turned to Lung Yu. If Wu Sun dared call at a time like this, Grandmaster Yao's patience is gone. Li Zhan is probably already on his way. Lung Yu gripped her spear, face like a blizzard. If Iron Butcher tries to start something in this building, I'll teach him that the Yao family doesn't own South River City yet. I sat on the sofa, feeling the tiger leopard thunder sound roaring through my veins. I glanced toward the elevator. He's here. The moment I said it, the entire building trembled slightly. A savage, overwhelming aura was rocketing up the elevator shaft. Ding. The elevator door slid open on the 3rd floor. A wave of murderous, blood-soaked killing intent poured through the gap like a dam breaking, flooding the entire lounge. The first one out was Li Zhan, built like an iron tower. Each step he took made the reinforced floor groan under the carpet. He was doing it on purpose. Power move. Behind him, Wu Sun and over a dozen fully armed Yao family elites fanned out across the lounge, forming a battle line opposite our little couch area. Vice President Shun, Inspector long time no see. His gravelly voice scraped the air like sandpaper on steel. But he wasn't looking at either woman. Those bloodshot hawk eyes locked straight past them and landed on me, sitting on my leather sofa, legs crossed, completely relaxed. He looked at me the way a butcher looks at a lamb on the chopping block. Buddy, you have no idea which one of us is the lamb. Li Jian, this is the headquarters lobby. Put your killing intent away. Shin Rushuang picked up her teacup and blew on it like she was at a spa, not a standoff. Are you really going to violate association regulations in front of everyone? Don't pull rank on me, Shin Rushuang. Li Jian slammed his massive cleaver into the floor. Crack. Marble tiles split in every direction. The Grandmaster's only son is missing, and the suspect is sitting right there on your sofa. And you want to talk about rules? He whipped his head toward Lung Yu, eyes full of greed and menace. Lung Yu, you're protecting this kid pretty hard. Even pulling out this special talent selection excuse? Let me be clear. I'm taking this boy today. Anyone who gets in my way is picking a fight with Grandmaster Yao himself. Lung Yu stood up slowly. Her body was taut as a drawn bow, faint thunder humming across her skin. Excuse? She snorted, looking at Li Jian like she was measuring him for a coffin. Li Jian, you've been the Yao family's dog so long you actually think South River City belongs to them. Qingyi is my student and a registered priority cultivation target. You have zero paperwork and you want to drag him away by force. The temperature in the room dropped to absolute zero. Wu Sun was cowering behind Li Jian, watching two 6-star peak warriors' auras collide overhead, sweating through his entire uniform. And me? I put down my water glass. My eyes swept the room casually, past the standoff, past the armed goons, and landed on a side door behind Shin Rushuang. Vice President Shun, the provincial supervisor who's been watching this show from back there. Don't you think it's time they came out? Everyone froze. Shin Rushuang's teacup paused mid-sip. Lung Yu blinked. Then laughter. Deep, booming, full of thunder. Ha! Kid, not only does your power grow fast, but that perception. Even I'm tempted to take you as a disciple. The heavy soundproof side door swung open, and out strolled an old man. Gray cloth clothes, washed so many times they'd faded to near white. Simple cloth shoes, hands behind his back. He looked like somebody's grandpa heading to the park to play chess. But with every step he took closer, Li Jian's savage, bloodthirsty aura shrank. Like someone was deflating a balloon. Rapidly. Pathetically. Elder Qin, Li Jian went sheet white. His hand was shaking so hard on his cleaver, it was practically vibrating. Shin Rushuang and Lung Yu exchanged a glance, stood up together, and bowed. Greetings, Elder Qin. Elder Qin Shan waved them off. Don't bother with formalities. He walked straight to me and looked me up and down with those cloudy but secretly laser-sharp old eyes. After a long moment, he stroked his beard and smiled. Lung Yu's report said you jumped 3 levels in a month. I didn't believe it. But just now, watching you sit perfectly calm while Li Jian blasted killing intent at you, that mental fortitude alone. Group A is lucky to have you. Then he turned, gave Li Jian a sideways glance, and spoke with the kind of casual authority that makes 7-star grandmasters shut up and sit down. Li Jian, go tell Yao Guangyuan. This young man, I'm protecting him. Until the selection trials are over, if anyone touches a hair on his head, don't blame me for being uncivilized. He pressed one wrinkled palm lightly into the air. Boom. Li Jian, the Iron Butcher, 6-star peak terror of South River City, flew backward like he'd been struck by lightning, legs buckling uncontrollably, and coughed up a massive spray of blood. He wiped his mouth with trembling hands. All that fearsome killer energy, gone. Replaced by the body language of a scared puppy who just peed on the wrong rug. Because Elder Qin Shan wasn't just some provincial bureaucrat. He was the head of the Shanjiang Provincial Martial Association, chairman of the Provincial Genius Camp Committee, 9-star Grandmaster. Grandmaster Yao was 7-star. Scary, sure, but in front of a 9-star who controlled the entire province's martial resources, that man had to bow his head and say, yes, sir. Elder Qin is absolutely right. Li Jian was foolish. Leaving now. Leaving right now. The Iron Butcher hunched over like a beaten dog, grabbed his oversized cleaver, and practically sprinted into the elevator with every Yao family warrior cramming in behind him. Wu Sun tried to slink away in the chaos. Superintendent Wu, where do you think you're going? Shun Rushuang's voice cracked across the room like a whip. Association enforcers materialized from both sides and grabbed Wu Sen's shoulders. Vice President Shun, I was just following orders. Following orders? Whose orders? The association's transfer process wasn't even completed, and you brought armed men to storm the VIP area. Shin Rushuang smiled like a shark. Perfect timing, actually. We've been auditing internal affairs lately. Your file has many interesting items. We'll go through them one by one. Take him. Wu Sun was dragged away screaming. Bye-bye, Hooknose. Should have picked a better boss. The room went quiet. Elder Qin stood with his hands behind his back, completely unbothered by the political drama. He was a 9-star grandmaster. People like Wu Sun and Li Zhan were less than insects to him. He turned to me, and those cloudy eyes suddenly became twin searchlights boring straight through my body. His relaxed expression shifted to genuine shock. He actually rubbed his eyes, like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. That's not right. He looked at me, then at Lung Yu. His voice came out shaky with disbelief. Xiao Yu, your report said he's certified 3-star half a month ago? Estimated current level 5-star initial. Lung Yu stood to the side, watching this legendary old monster get his mind blown, and couldn't help the tiny proud smile pulling at her lips. Elder Qin, I believe your golden eyes have spotted something unexpected. I figured at this point, trying to hide from a 9-star grandmaster was like trying to hide an elephant behind a chopstick. So I smiled, let the tiger leopard thunder sound pulse once, and released my real aura. A wave of blood chi pressure, denser, heavier, and more refined than anything Li Zhan had put out, rolled through the room. The air instantly felt like it weighed 3 times more. I bowed respectfully. Elder Qin, I originally planned to meet you as a 5-star warrior. But just yesterday, Teacher Lung Yu's guidance was so profound that this student accidentally broke through to 6-star. 6-star? Shin Rushuang's teacup shattered in her grip. Crack. Boiling tea ran down her fingers, and she didn't even notice. Elder Qin froze solid. His beard was literally trembling. You? What did you say? 6-star, he crossed the distance in 1 step, grabbed my wrist with bony fingers, and sent his perception inside. 1 second. 2 seconds. His fingers recoiled. His eyes were tsunamis of shock. This thunder sound frequency. Your gene development really is above 60%. He spun to Lung Yu, voice cracking. Lung Yui, are you telling me you taught this? A 6-star peak warrior produced a 6-star student? In 2 months, Lung Yu's face went pink. She looked away, voice dropping to a mumble. I told you. He's just talented. I merely guided him along. Inside her head, of course I taught him. Day and night. Especially night. Elder Qin threw his head back and laughed so hard the motion sensor lights on the entire floor started flickering. Good. 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 I thought coming to South River City and finding a 5-star prodigy would make the trip worthwhile. But this, he slapped my shoulder with a palm that could probably crack mountains, eyes blazing with the kind of excitement I'd only ever seen on a kid opening presents. I smiled humbly. Inside, my system was purring. 6-star verified by a 9-star grandmaster. National protection status incoming. Grandmaster Yao's goons running home with their tails between their legs. And Lung Yu, standing in the background, trying so hard not to look proud while internally taking full credit for my education. Technically accurate, just not in the way Elder Qin is imagining. Even though Elder Qin was basically already sold, the man was thorough. He dragged me into the official testing room for a full-body examination. Shin Rushuang, Lung Yu, and the old man himself all watched. Boom. The force target lit up. Punch force, 6,100 kilograms. Shin Rushuang forgot how to breathe for a second. Elder Qin nodded happily. Good. Good. Then came bone density. Cell activity. Blood chi flow rate. Every single number came back screaming. This guy is real. Shin Rushuang was standing off to the side, looking like someone had told her gravity was optional now. She'd handled countless powerful warriors as vice president, but a guy who certified 3-star last week and was now punching at 6-star levels? That's not talent. That's a glitch in the matrix. Elder Qin got really serious after that. He pulled up every file that existed on me. high school physical test videos, graduation photos, even my orphanage medical records. He spent ages comparing my current eye patterns and bone structure ratios against the old data. No cosmetic surgery traces. Bone age confirmed at 20 years. No banned substance residue in his blood chi. He set down the data pad and exhaled like a man who'd just watched a UFO land in his backyard. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would never believe it. Without any spiritual awakening, purely through physical evolution alone, reaching this speed. Unprecedented. Truly unprecedented. Then he turned to me, and his face went dead serious. Chunyi, Group A is meaningless for you now. I'm applying for Group S. Group S? Shen Rushuang and Lung Yu shouted at the same time. Lung Yu's heart nearly punched through her ribcage. Group S was the most elite national program. Every member was being groomed as a future war god. They got the country's absolute highest-tier resources. And normally, S Group picked from the top 3 of Group A after a full selection process. Nobody got a direct application. Elder Qin, the S Group quota isn't. Shun Rushuang started. He waved her off. I know. This year Shanjiang province has 3 S Group slots, and they were filled half a month ago. But rules are for normal situations, and this kid is not a normal situation. Someone's giving up their seat. He looked at me, a testing glint in his eye. Qin Yi, the national requirement for S Group is simple, undefeatable within your rank. Come with me to the provincial capital headquarters. The 3 kids currently holding those slots are top-tier geniuses from the province's 3 most powerful martial families. All 6-star, all raised on the best gene serums and secret family techniques since birth. If you can beat any one of them in a public challenge, that S Group slot is yours. His eyes flashed with authority. Once you're in S Group, forget one Grandmaster Yao. 10 of him wouldn't dare touch you without evidence. You'd be a national strategic asset. Attacking you would be attacking the country's foundation. And whoever does that, dies. I listened to all of this while feeling the tiger leopard thunder sound roaring through my veins. No pressure, just boiling excitement. I nodded calmly. Since Elder Qin thinks so highly of me, I'll go take that slot. Lung Yu watched me being all cool and collected, and I could practically see the mixture of pride and worry swirling in her eyes. Her little troublemaker was about to go kick 3 hornets' nests at once. And each of those hornets came from families with deeper pockets than some small countries. Excellent. That's the spirit. Elder Qin laughed like thunder. You have 1 hour to handle personal business. Then you leave with me for the provincial capital. 1 hour. That's it. 1 hour to say goodbye to everything in South River City. Go ahead. I need to prepare transfer paperwork. Elder Qin waved me off, then turned to Shun Rushuang. Vice President Shun, classify all of Chunya's South River City files as top secret S level. Anyone who tries to access them without my authorization gets reported directly to the Provincial Association. Understood, Elder Qin. I looked at Lung Yu. Teacher Lung Yu, she'd snapped back into her cold, professional exterior, but the deep layer underneath was radiating 1,000 unspoken warnings and worries. I'll walk you out, she said quickly. Shen Rushuang watched us leave together with a knowing smile that could write novels. Elder Qin stared at us for a long moment too. Elder Qin, what are you looking at? Shen Rushuang couldn't help asking. The old man chuckled and said nothing. Young people's love affairs weren't an old man's business. But youth. And she's his teacher? TSK TSK. In the elevator, Lung Yu dropped the act and whispered urgently. Those 3 in the provincial capital are from the Zhao, Qian, and Sun families, the province's 3 strongest martial dynasties. They've been drinking top-grade gene serums since they could crawl and practicing secret family techniques since they could walk. Do not underestimate them. I grabbed her cold little hand and grinned. Teacher, honestly, I'm more worried about you. Stay home. Be good. And remember to train hard. Her face went red. She ripped her hand away. Get lost. Go see your wife, top-floor penthouse. Su Chinga was sitting outside the gravity room, sipping a purple crystal nutrient solution when I walked in. Husband, she jumped up in surprise. I pulled her into my arms, chin resting on her head. Wifey, change of plans. The Provincial Association chairman, Elder Qin, came personally. He's taking me to the provincial capital for S Group selection in the Genius Training Camp. S Group? She didn't know the details, but provincial chairman told her everything she needed to know. This was a massive deal. Are you? Leaving soon. Her eyes were full of things she didn't want to say. 1 hour. This isn't just an opportunity. It's our shield. Once I'm in S group, even a grandmaster would think twice before coming after me. She didn't cry. Didn't make a scene. She took a deep breath, stepped back, and went straight to the bedroom to pack. Clean clothes. Tactical supplies. High-grade nutrient shots stuffed into my bag. The provincial capital is complicated. If you can solve it with fists, don't waste time arguing. But don't let anyone push you around either. She was muttering advice while zipping up the bag. My heart melted a little. I hugged her from behind, big hand resting on her slightly rounded belly. Wifey, I'll have purple crystal nutrient solutions delivered every month. Don't save them. Use them. Train hard. If anything happens in South River City, contact Inspector Lung Yu or Vice President Shinru Shuang immediately. She turned around and kissed my cheek. Don't worry. I'll take care of myself and the baby. But if you come back without that slot, you're kneeling on the washboard. Not only am I getting that slot, I'm going to build a whole empire for you and our kid up there. 1 hour. 2 women's worried faces. 1 unborn baby. 1 9-star escort. 3 elite geniuses waiting to get their worlds rearranged. Provincial capital, here I come. Time to show the top of the food chain what a system-powered orphan with 2 cultivation-boosting wives can do. 1 hour later. Rooftop of the Marshall Association building. A sleek silver supersonic jet called the Aurora was sitting there looking like something out of a sci-fi movie, engines humming with barely contained power. Elder Cheen stood at the cabin door, cape flapping dramatically in the wind. Because of course 9-star grandmasters have capes. I showed up exactly on time. Spear on my back. Black armor on. Looking like a weapon that someone forgot to put a sheath on. All sorted? Elder Cheen smiled. All sorted. Then let's go. He stepped into the cabin. Kid, every old monster at the provincial headquarters has already heard I'm bringing back some pig-slaughtering genius from the Boonis. They're all stretching their necks waiting to laugh. You'd better make me look good, the engine screamed. The jet ripped through the clouds like a white laser beam, heading straight for Linjiang City, the political and martial center of Shanjiang province. Inside the cabin, the vibrations were smoothed to near nothing by fancy shock absorbers. Just a soft hum. I closed my eyes and dove into my system. Remaining development points, 16, Azure Dragon Spear, stages 1 to 6 proficient, Overlord Spear, stages 1 to 6 proficient, Cloud Piercing Thrust, stages 1 to 6 proficient, Mountain River Shield Sword, stages 1 to 6 proficient, all 4 of my top combat techniques were at proficient, which sounds decent until you realize that I'd originally had stage 1 at mastered. But after loading the full 6-stage versions, the proficiency got spread thin. For what I was about to do, proficient wasn't going to cut it. System. How much to bring Azure Dragon Spear to perfected? Ding. Proficient to mastered, 3 points. Mastered to perfected, 6 points. Total, 9 points. Confirm? Confirmed, 0 hesitation. Ding. 9 development points consumed. Azure Dragon Spear, stages 1 to 6, upgraded to perfected, remaining points, 7, boom. My brain detonated. A tsunami of spear knowledge crashed into every neuron I owned. Technique insights, power angles, breathing synchronization, and something deeper, the faintest whisper of spear intent, that mysterious quality that turns a weapon into an extension of your soul. I fell into what felt like a timeless space. Alone, practicing spear forms in ocean tides for 100 years. Thrusting at mountaintops in howling winds for 100 years. Slaughtering through battlefields for 100 years. Every thrust, every sweep, every block, refined from clumsy to perfect, then from perfect to something beyond perfect. Back to simplicity. The kind of simplicity that only comes after mastering everything. My muscle fibers actually reorganized themselves. Micro adjustments to match the absolute optimal spear-wielding body structure. Ooh, I opened my eyes. A flash of dark gold light streaked across my pupils, so sharp that the alloy cabin wall across from me actually trembled. I was sitting completely still, but the feeling I gave off had changed. I wasn't just a warrior anymore. I was a divine spear planted in the clouds. 1 thrust, and dragons flee. Elder Cheen, who'd been meditating in the seat ahead, snapped his eyes open and stared at me. This kid, why does his aura feel different again? A minute ago I'd felt like a sharp, flashy blade. Now there was something ancient and vast layered on top, like a monster that had been cultivating for centuries. Did he have another epiphany? On the plane? In 30 minutes. His eye twitched. No way. Absolutely no way. Yes way. 3 hours later, the aurora swept over a glittering river. Ahead, a city several times larger than South River City rose from the earth like a steel jungle. Linjiang City, provincial capital. The jet landed on the private pad atop the Provincial Martial Association Tower. Chun Yi ready? Elder Qin stood in the wind, hands behind his back. I gripped my fortress breaker spear, felt the harmony between weapon and body, that beautiful resonance of man and spear becoming one. Elder Qin, you should be asking if my opponents are ready. Huh? I love the arrogance. He led me down to the 5th floor, the genius training grounds. Before the door even opened, I could feel it. Multiple auras seeping through the cracks. Every single one was at least 5-star peak. Several were 6-star or above. Ding. The alloy door slid apart. For football fields of solid alloy flooring stretched before me. The ambient spiritual energy was so thick, it was practically fog. Over a dozen young warriors in expensive custom armor were sparring or running tests on high-tech equipment, each exchange creating visible shockwaves in the air. The second Elder Qin and I stepped in, everything stopped. Every single sound. A dozen razor-sharp gazes snapped to me like targeting lasers. Assessment. Hostility. Territorial aggression. They who let the stray in look. Elder Qin. Greetings, Chairman. These insufferably arrogant geniuses instantly became polite puppies when they saw the old man. Bowing. Cupping fists. Very respectful. Then they looked at me, and the politeness evaporated like morning dew in a furnace. A nearly 2-meter-tall mountain of muscle carrying a giant AXE spotted my 3-star badge and burst out laughing. Elder Qin, this is the emergency-approved genius you're parachuting into S Group? From South River City, 3-star, he hefted his axe, dripping contempt from every pore. Elder Qin, you can't be serious. The janitor here is probably above 3-star. The whole room erupted in laughter. These were the cream of Group A, provincial elites. 5-star minimum. Battle-tested. To them, a 3-star nobody from a backwater city was a punchline. Elder Qin didn't even blink. He just looked at the big guy calmly. Zhao Quang, since you think 3-star isn't worth watching, how about you go first? Test his weight for us. Axe Boy's grin widened. All teeth. Gladly. I just hope I don't accidentally chop your genius in half. Elder Qin ignored him and looked toward the deepest part of the arena. 3 figures sat there. 2 men, 1 woman. They hadn't joined the mockery. Hadn't even stood up. Around them was an invisible vacuum of presence, the aura field of S Group elites that kept everyone else at a respectful distance. Zhao Kunxian of the Zhao family, Qian Yutong of the Qian family, and Sun Mingdai of the Sun family. Every single one had gene development above 60%. Solid 6-star warriors. The strongest, Zhao Kunxian, felt like a bottomless abyss. Probably touching 6-star peak already. Chun Yi, look carefully. Elder Qin pointed at the 3 of them. Beat any one of them, and your S Group. Lose, and you go back to South River City to slaughter pigs. I nodded. My spear hummed. A faint dragon song that made the surrounding air quiver. With perfected azure dragon spear flowing through my veins, these so-called geniuses looked like they were made of glass. Every flaw, every weak point, every gap in their defense, every stutter in their blood-chi circulation, I could see all of it. It was like being a max-level endgame boss who'd accidentally wandered into the tutorial zone and found a bunch of level 1 elites hopping around thinking they were tough. No need to pick. I carried my spear at an angle and walked to the center of the arena. My eyes skipped right over the loudmouth Axe Boy and landed directly on the 3S Group members sitting in the back. My voice was calm, cold, and carried to every corner of that 4-football field arena. Fighting one at a time is too slow. All 3 of you. Come at me together, dead. Silence. Even the spiritual energy fog seemed to freeze. Somewhere in the back, Axe Boy's jaw hit the floor so hard it probably cracked the alloy tiles. Elder Qin, standing behind me with his hands behind his back, was grinning like a kid who'd just lit the biggest firecracker in the box. 3-star badge. 6-star power. Perfected spear art. And absolutely zero chill. Provincial capital. Let me introduce myself. My name is Chun Yi. and I didn't come here to participate. I came here to take over. The training ground went so quiet you could hear a leaf scraping across the alloy floor. Every frozen smile on every a group genius's face was a work of art. Axeboy Zhao Quang's jaw was hanging open like a broken mailbox. And those 3S group elites who'd been sitting like statues? They finally looked up, eyes cold enough to freeze fire. Because yeah, I just told 3 of the province's most powerful 6-star geniuses to fight me at the same time, while wearing a 3-star badge. Interesting. Zhao Kunshin stood up, grabbed his spear, eyes radiating murder. Some hick from South River City. You figure if you lose a 3-on-1, it sounds better than a regular loss? Elder Qin was standing off to the side, and I caught him staring at my spear grip. His pupils shrank. He'd noticed it. The way I held my weapon now had that oneness, quality, man and spear sharing the same breath. The mark of a perfected technique. I could practically hear his brain short-circuiting. There's no way this kid's spear work is that good. It was. But he'd find out soon enough. Now, the S-Group Trio's reactions to my challenge were entertaining. Sun Mengdai, the only girl, porcelain doll pretty, gave me one disgusted glance and said exactly 2 words, childish. Then she turned around in a swirl of lavender cape and walked to the rest area. Didn't even waste a full sentence on me. In her mind, I was just some attention-seeking baby trying to make a name with a stunt. Qian Yutong let out one contemptuous snort, patted his absurdly expensive custom silver armor, and strolled toward the gravity training room without a single glance in my direction. Getting my hands dirty on some clueless idiot? People would laugh at me for years. And just like that, 2 out of 3 S-Group geniuses walked away, which left Zhao Kunshin standing there alone, looking like he'd bitten into a lemon. His internal struggle was visible. Both his teammates had pieced out to protect their reputations. Was he, the strongest of the 3, heir to the mighty Zhao family, supposed to publicly beat up a 3-star nobody from the sticks? Win, and nobody's impressed. Get scratched even once, and he'd never live it down. He was about to wave someone else forward when his cousin Zhao Quang exploded. How dare you? Axeboy pointed at my nose, howling like a wounded bear. What do you think you are? You want to get destroyed? I'll do it myself. His 5-star peak aura erupted like a volcano. I didn't even look at him. Instead, I turned to Elder Qin. Calm. Polite. Elder Qin, if I beat this big guy, do I get the S-Group slot? Elder Qin barely held back his laughter. No. Rules are rules. Only defeating one of the S-Group 3 earns you a spot. I nodded, glanced sideways at the raging Axe Mountain, then looked past him at the retreating backs of Sun Mengdai and Qian Yutong, and at Zhao Kunshin, who was clearly about to slip away too. Then I raised my voice so it carried to every corner of that 4-football field arena. If beating him doesn't count, why would I bother? But Elder Qin, you saw what just happened. I challenged all 3 of them. And these so-called S-Group geniuses couldn't run away fast enough. Not one had the guts to accept. My eyes locked onto Elder Qin like laser beams. They're scared. They're panicking. A bunch of cowards who lost their nerve before a single punch was thrown. What right do they have to occupy S-Group seats? Elder Qin, since none of them dare fight me, I should just directly replace one of them. That seems reasonable, right? The arena detonated. What the? Did he just? He challenged 3 people, nobody responded, and he's spinning it as them being scared. That's the most disgusting logic I've ever heard. But it's kind of genius though. Elder Qin burst out laughing, looking at me with undisguised admiration. This kid wasn't just strong. His psychological warfare game was S-tier too. The retreating Qian Yutong and Sun Mengdai both froze mid-step. Qian Yutong's whole body went rigid. He considered himself cultured and refined. Nobody had ever called him a coward to his face in front of the entire provincial training camp. What did you just say? An ENT calling US afraid. Sun Mengdai also stopped. She didn't speak, but the low-pressure zone around her dropped another 10 degrees. This porcelain doll was not happy. And Zhao Kunshin? He actually let out a helpless laugh. This 3-star punk was evil. He'd put them in a perfect lose-lose trap. Don't fight? Then the whole province hears that S-Group ran from a 3-star challenger. Fight. Then you're bullying someone 2 tiers below you, and even winning looks pathetic. Absolutely diabolical. Elder Qin was practically glowing with pride. The more he watched me operate, the more he liked what he saw. Bold. Vicious. Brilliant. This was the successor material he'd been looking for. Elder Qin turned to the fuming Zhao Kuang with a mischievous glint. Kuang, it seems our friend Qin Yi doesn't think a 5-star peak is worth his time. How about this? You go up first, representing the Zhao family. And if he finishes you in 2 or 3 moves, Elder Qin's gaze shifted meaningfully to Zhao Kuanxian. The message was clear. If your cousin gets demolished, you're next whether you like it or not. With the entire arena watching, Zhao Kuang's face turned crimson. He roared and stomped. Boom. The reinforced alloy floor cracked into a spiderweb pattern under his foot. He launched himself at me like a black tornado, that massive battle axe screaming through the air with enough force to split a mountain, aimed straight at my skull. The sheer pressure pushed every spectating A-group warrior several steps backward. I stood there, clothes flapping in the axe wind. Didn't move an inch. Shook my head. Too slow, with perfected Azure Dragon Spear running through every fiber of my being. That axe coming at my head looked like it was moving through pudding. I flicked my wrist. My spear, which had been hanging casually at my side like a bored snake, suddenly came alive. A high-pitched dragon's cry split the air. No dodge. No retreat. I just poked. One single thrust. The most casual, effortless poke in the history of combat. But that poke arrived first. Before his axe reached me, my spear tip was already pressing against the exact junction where the axe blade met the handle. The weakest, most unstable point on any heavy weapon. Ting. One crystal-clear note of metal on metal. Zhao Kuang felt it immediately. A vibration so violent it traveled up through his axe handle and into his skeleton like he'd just body-slammed a sleeping dragon. Tiger leopard thunder sound howled through my spear. His arm bones made a cracking noise that made everyone in the arena wince. Splurt. Blood sprayed from his mouth. His enormous body, all 2 meters and several hundred pounds of muscle, lifted off the ground like a leaf in a hurricane. He flew backward dozens of meters, crashed into the arena's protective barrier, and slid down like a wet towel. One thrust. One. A 5-star peak warrior from the mighty Zhao family. Didn't even make me shift my feet. Silence. The kind that has weight. His giant axe, hundreds of pounds of alloy, clattered to the floor. The echo rang for a long, long time. The man himself was unconscious before he stopped sliding. Every single A-group genius swallowed hard at the exact same time. The mockery in their eyes? Gone. Replaced by raw, unfiltered terror. One thrust. Instant KO on a 5-star peak warrior. A 3-star did that. Even Zhao Kuanxian, the strongest person here, couldn't have done it that cleanly. I slowly lowered my spear, tip angled toward the ground. Casual. Relaxed. Like I'd just swatted a mosquito that was bothering me. Then I turned to face the 3 S-group geniuses. Their faces? Priceless. Absolutely priceless. Sun Mingdia's cold, superior eyes showed genuine caution for the first time. Qian Yutong's contemptuous smirk had vanished. His lips were pressed tight, and the hands behind his back were trembling. Zhao Kuanxian's mouth was literally hanging open. Only someone at their level could truly understand what I'd just done. That wasn't just a strong hit. That was perfect control of force, timing, and spear intent. Total domination on every axis. Is this the provincial standard? My voice wasn't loud, but it reached every corner of the arena. That guy was too weak. Wasted my energy and everyone's time. I looked across all 3 of their faces, then settled on Zhao Kuanxian. Smiled. My offer still stands. One at a time is boring. All 3 of you. Together. Let's go. Even after watching me delete Zhao Kuang in one move, this challenge still made everyone's heart skip a beat. Because those 3 were real 6-star warriors. Not 5-star peak. 6-star. Elder Qin's cloudy eyes were practically sparking with excitement. Since you insist on fighting all 3, he turned to the trio, voice dropping to pure ice and authority. Zhao Kuanxian, Qian Yutong, Sun Mingdai. The person I personally brought here is calling you cowards to your faces. Are you going to just stand there? Or should I officially announce that the entire S-group surrenders and vacate your slots right now? That did it. This is too much. Qian Yutong exploded forward like silver lightning, landing in the arena. You want to die so badly? I'll arrange it. Sun Mingdai moved next. Shield and blade in hand, eyes like frozen daggers, her body flickering in and out of visibility like a ghost. Zhao Qianxian took a deep breath. Family honor was on the line. No retreat. He drew his jet-black heavy spear from his back. The tip scraped the ground, throwing off a trail of sparks. 3S group geniuses. The province's absolute elite. Standing in triangle formation. Me locked in the center. What's your name? Zhao Qianxian's pressure hit me like a tidal wave. 3 of us against 1. You should feel honored. Names are just labels. I held my spear one-handed. Twirled it once, a perfect, lazy circle in the air, and planted the butt end on the ground. Just remember, after today, S Group is under new management. Arrogant, Qian Yutong snapped first. His fighting style was all about speed and burst damage. Twin blades became 2 silver streaks, sealing off every escape angle I had. 9-layer thunder kill, a top-tier combat technique. The same style used by the legendary war god, Lin Song, who held the record for fastest S-class beast elimination. Qian Yutong had modeled his entire fighting identity after this man. His blades filled the air with knife shadows so fast the human eye literally could not track them. Simultaneously, Sun Mingdia's beautiful frame flickered. Shield angled. Footwork ghostly. Her long blade snaked toward the blind spot under my ribs like a venomous serpent. And in the center, Zhao Qianxian, stable as a volcano about to erupt. Heavy spear held horizontal. Watching. Waiting. The moment I showed a crack, he'd deliver the killing blow. 3 6-star geniuses. Perfect coordination. Triangle lockdown. Against all of this, I did the most disrespectful thing possible. I didn't move backward. Didn't even raise my spear to block. Azure Dragon Claw, Tiger Leopard Thunder sound dropped to its lowest, densest frequency. Hip twist. Spear thrust. This thrust wasn't faster than Qian Yutong's blades. Wasn't heavier than Zhao Qianxian's spear. But the moment it left my hand, both Qian Yutong and Sun Mingdai felt something impossible, like the entire space around them was collapsing inward, sucked toward my spear tip. Perfected Azure Dragon Spear. Ting 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 ting. An avalanche of metal impacts rang through the arena. My spear became a storm of phantom images. Each thrust landed precisely on the intersection point, where Qian Yutong's twin blades crossed, the spot where his technique was weakest, shattering his thunder-fast combos into sparks. Each thrust also deflected Sun Mingdia's snake-like blade attacks at the last possible millimeter. I stood in one spot. Didn't move my feet. 3 meters in every direction became my absolute territory, an untouchable zone of perfect defense. 3 6-star geniuses, attacking with everything they had. And I was standing still, handling all of them with one spear, looking like I was doing light cardio. The A-group gallery had stopped breathing entirely. Elder Qin was grinning so wide his beard was in danger. Somewhere in the back of my mind, a thought floated by. Perfected level techniques might have been the best 9 points I ever spent. How is this possible? Qian Yutong's face was pure horror. His pride and joy speed? Against my spear, it was like watching a toddler try to slap a kung fu master. Every single strike, every angle, every power point, I knew where it was going before he did. Time to stop playing defense. My turn. I opened my eyes wide and let out one sharp bark. Tiger Leopard Thunder sound fused with Azure Dragon Spear intent. Boom. My spear, which had been calmly swatting away attacks like a bored librarian shooing flies, suddenly went berserk. I became the dragon. Not metaphorically. My body flowed with the spear like we shared one nervous system. And instead of blocking, I charged forward. Into all 3 of them. Overlord Spear, sweeping 1,000 armies. My spear carved a massive fan-shaped arc across half the arena. Retreat. Zhao Qianxian's face went white. He felt it. Enough destructive power in that sweep to flatten a building. Too late. The coverage was too wide. The speed was too fast. Bang. Bang. Qian Yutong and Sun Mingdai couldn't even finish raising their guards before the shockwave caught them. They flew backward like broken kites, skidding across the alloy floor for over 10 meters before jamming their weapons into the ground to stop. Only Zhao Qianxian was still standing. Barely. Break through. Eyes bloodshot, he poured everything he had into his black heavy spear and swung it at me with the desperation of a cornered animal. Perfect. I flicked my spear from sweep to point in one liquid motion. Cloud-piercing thrust. The ultimate single-point penetration technique. Ting. Two spears collided. A visible shockwave erupted from the impact point, blasting dust away in every direction. I didn't move. Not 1 inch. Zhao Kunxian. His arms were vibrating so violently it looked like he was being electrocuted. His jet-black spear now had a clear dent where mine had struck it. He stumbled backward 5 steps. Each step punched a deep footprint into reinforced alloy flooring. One man, one spear, against 3 top-tier S-group geniuses. Not only did I not lose, I dominated. The arena was so quiet you could have heard a pin drop from the parking garage. Elder Qin was watching me from the stands, and his smile had gone completely uncontrollable. This kid, was that 3 different spear techniques fused together? Even his ancient heart was speeding up. He'd seen countless geniuses in his life. But this was the real thing. I leaned on my spear and gave the 3 pale-faced geniuses a casual glance. They were still standing, technically, but the fight was over and everyone knew it. Qian Yutong's hands were shaking. His precious twin blades, supposedly indestructible, were covered in tiny chips along the edges. Every chip was where my spear had struck the exact weakest point of his blade with surgical precision. This is what a real genius looks like. His voice was sandpaper dry. Sun Mingdai was staring at me with the most complex expression her porcelain face had ever produced. Her ghostly footwork that she'd spent her whole life perfecting? My sweeping thrust had locked down every possible escape route simultaneously. That wasn't just power. That was a completely different dimension of combat understanding. 30 minutes ago she'd called me childish and walked away. Bet that word tasted different now. Who are you really? Zhao Kunxian forced his raging blood qi down and asked through gritted teeth. Which family trained you? He refused to believe a nobody with no background could produce this. Even the Grandmaster-level elders in his own Zhao family couldn't wield a spear this smoothly. I didn't answer him. I turned to Elder Qin, cupped my fists respectfully, and said in a perfectly level voice, Elder Qin, I'm done. Are you satisfied with the results? Elder Qin's laughter boomed across the arena like thunder, making the stands vibrate. He appeared in front of me in 1 step. 9-star movement speed is basically teleportation, and slapped my shoulder with enough enthusiasm to crack a normal person's collarbone. Satisfied? I'm ecstatic. I've seen so-called geniuses my entire life. More than fish in a river. But someone who's refined the Azure Dragon Spear to this level of mastery? You're the first. He turned to the 3 defeated warriors, voice dropping to Arctic temperatures. Zhao Kunxian, Qian Yutong, Sun Mingdai. Do you accept the result? They looked at each other, eyes full of bitterness and denial. But ultimately, they exhaled and lowered their proud heads. We accept, beaten by someone their age. 3 against 1. There were literally 0 excuses available. Good. Elder Qin nodded, then raised his voice so it reached every corner of the arena. I hereby declare, from this day forward, Chunyi officially receives an S-group slot in the Provincial Genius Training Camp. Furthermore, given the absolute dominance he displayed, Chunyi is designated S-group, first seat. All resource allocation. Chunyi gets priority. Objections? Total silence. Nobody dared breathe funny. These were people who worshipped strength. And right now, the strongest person in this building who wasn't a 9-star grandpa was the new guy with the 3-star badge. Chunyi, come with me. Minutes later, the chairman's office. Elder Qin handed me a special ID card stamped with a golden dragon pattern. His face was dead serious. Chunyi, once you take this card, you're no longer just some kid from South River City. You are a priority asset of the southern region. Your safety is tied to the next 50 years of Shanjiang Province's martial destiny. He lowered his voice. A hint of something only I was meant to understand. As for that Yao Guanyin, Grandmaster Yao back in South River City. Relax. I already sent him a message. From now on, if anything happens to you or your family in South River City, I hold him personally responsible, even without evidence. I will personally disassemble his skeleton and offer it to the heavens. A 9-star Grandmaster just told a 7-star Grandmaster. Touch my boy, and I'll use your bones as decorations. I took the golden card, felt its cold weight, bowed with a proper martial salute. Thank you, Elder Qin, for protecting my path. Protecting? Nah. I just don't like watching gems get buried in mud. He waved dismissively. Talk to your family and move them to the provincial capital. You'll all be safer here. My eyes lit up. This was exactly what Su Chinga and Lung Yu needed. Understood. I'll arrange it immediately. I pocketed the card and turned to leave. Wait. Elder Chin stopped me, a mischievous glint in his old eyes. One more thing before you go? A little welcome gift. He swiped the air, and a glowing golden electronic list materialized in front of me. This is the S Group First Seat exclusive starter package. In addition to cultivation resources worth over 100 million credits, you can pick one special grade resource valued at up to 100 million credits. 100 million credits. For a little gift. I looked at the list, then at Elder Chin, then back at the list. Today I walked into this building with a 3-star badge and an attitude problem. I'm walking out as the most protected, best funded, highest ranked young warrior in the entire province. System, I love you. Lung Yu's training sessions, I love you. Su Chinga's quiet cultivation at home, I love you. And Elder Chin, you beautiful, terrifying, cape-wearing old man. You just became my favorite person on this entire planet. My eyes flew across that golden shopping list like a kid in the world's most dangerous candy store. Every single item would cause a bloodbath if it showed up in South River City. Flowing cloud battle armor, blood chi shield that blocks one full power hit up to 7-star. Self-repairing. Value, 99.99 million credits. Gung gold heavy sword. Carries any elemental force. Armor piercing attribute. Value, 99.99 million credits. Cool weapons. Flashy armor. Any normal person would be drooling. But then my eyes stopped on a line of small purple text that most people would skip right over. Phantom Sea Purple Saliva Incense. Extracted from the Phantom Sea jellyfish found 10,000 meters deep in forbidden ocean trenches. Massively activates brain cells. Probability of awakening dormant spiritual psychic power. Paired technique. Hibernating dragon mind scripture. Cultivates and purifies spiritual energy through deep meditation. Slow accumulation, explosive breakthrough. Value, 99.99 million credits. I stopped scrolling. Elder Chin, this Phantom Sea incense with the hibernating dragon scripture, can it help a 6-star warrior break through their bottleneck? Elder Chin's eyebrow went up. He smiled. Indeed, according to 30 years of top-secret association research, the transformation from 6-star to 7-star isn't just about blood chi accumulation. The real key is spiritual transformation. He held up one finger. If you can awaken even a trace of spiritual perception beforehand, it's like gaining a third eye when you assault the Grandmaster barrier. You can see the tiny checkpoints that are normally invisible. Breakthrough probability increases by at least 30%. 30%. At a stage where 9 out of 10 warriors die trying, 30% might as well be a cheat code. Elder Chin studied me. You're thinking about, I smiled. What I'm thinking about is, what are the licensing terms? Can only I practice this, or can my family members use it too? He blinked. Then he actually pointed at me and laughed like I'd told the funniest joke of the year. You little rascal. Everyone else at this stage is thinking about powering themselves up as fast as possible. But you? Haven't even moved in yet, and you're already trying to get a family discount. He shook his head, muttered, young people these days, then went serious. Under S-level resource management regulations, you can authorize 2 additional people beyond yourself. Any more than that costs 50 million credits per extra person. As for the purple saliva incense itself, 1 course costs 10 million. You'll receive 3 courses free. After that, buy more with your points or credits. My brain did instant math. 2 extra slots. Su Chinga, Lung Yu, 1 each. Perfect. 4 Lung Yu, already 6-star peak. This was practically a golden escalator to Grandmaster. For Su Chinga, it was incredible foundational investment. I'll take it. Elder Chin nodded, entered it into the system, then fixed me with sharp eyes. Chinyi, benefits come with rules. Let me lay out S Group expectations. First, 1 million credits monthly stipend. The province provides a top-tier private villa with vice president level security. But his tone shifted to razor steel. Beyond that stipend, everything else, high-grade beast blood, special weapons, even tickets in a secret realms, you fight for. Against provincial geniuses. Against geniuses from other provinces in the southern region. Eventually against monsters from the capital and the whole damn country. Second, If a large-scale beast tide or emergency hits the southern region and the association issues a mandatory conscription order, you go. No questions. No refusal. Third, annual National Genius Tournament is mandatory. If you drop below top 3 in yearly evaluations, or your growth rate falls short, you get demoted. All benefits downgraded. He walked to the window, gazing out at the provincial capital skyline. Lastly, and this is the most immediate concern, 2 months from now, the Southern Region Genius Championship. Normally you'd need to go through a week-long provincial qualifier, but given what you showed today, he looked back at me, eyes burning with expectation. Skip the qualifier. I'm giving you a direct entry pass. These 2 months, settle your family, then go into closed-door training. I want to see a spear god from South River City sweeping the entire southern region. Understood. I straightened up. Perfect martial salute. Voice like a hammer hitting an anvil. Student accepts the order. I will not disappoint Elder Chin. Good. Now go tell your women. Take your time. The South River City Association will handle the logistics. He watched me walk away, looking satisfied. Shanjiang Province had finally produced a real dragon. Meanwhile, back in South River City, Grandmaster Yao's private estate had gone deathly silent. Crash. An extremely expensive agarwood table turned to powder under his palm. The photos of Wang Zheng and Yao Hailong flew off the surface and got shredded by leaking purple battle chi. S-Group. This Chun Yi is definitely hiding something. He must know what happened to my son. Why else would he react like this? His teeth were grinding so hard they could have sparked. Qin Shan, you OLD bastard. You're pulling out S-Group slots to protect a suspect? Are you really trying to go to war with me? His eyes were pure bloodshot. His purple flame aura was flickering dangerously close to losing control. A servant practically crawled into the room, voice trembling. My lord. New report. Vice President Chen Rushuang has personally escorted Chun Ye's wife, Su Qingge, out of the warrior apartments. They're heading toward the provincial capital. Damn it. The floor cracked under his feet as he stood. He knew. Once Su Qingge was in the provincial capital under Elder Chin's watch, his leverage over me was gone. A 7-star Grandmaster versus a 9 stars protection? That math didn't work. But he didn't order an interception. Elder Chin's warning was still echoing in his skull. If anything happens to them, I hold you responsible. Investigate. Keep investigating. His eyes were cold as a viper's. The moment we find real evidence on this kid, not even Qin Shan can shield him from the law. Good luck with that, old man. Your son is fish food and the evidence is currently being digested by river monsters. And on the other side of South River City, Lung Yu was sitting in her office staring at her phone, chest heaving with annoyance. My message on her screen read, Xiao Yu wifey, I'm settled in the provincial capital. Just scored, Phantom Sea Purple Saliva Incense, and the matching, hibernating dragon mind scripture from Elder Chin. A secret treasure that can awaken spiritual power and force break the 6-star bottleneck. I specifically saved a slot for you. Are you sure you're not coming? I could practically feel her fuming through the screen. The bait was set. The hook was perfect. A cultivation treasure worth nearly 100 million credits. Designed specifically for her exact situation, being dangled by the one man she couldn't resist. Come to the provincial capital, Xiao Yu wifey. Your husband has a villa, a monthly million credit income, a secret technique that could make you a grandmaster, and a king-sized bed that's feeling very empty. The trap is obvious, but it's a really nice trap. Back in South River City, Lung Yu was reading my message and her ears were doing that involuntary red thing again. This little scoundrel. Using treasures to bait me. She was grinding her teeth. She wasn't like Su Qingge. She couldn't just pack a bag and relocate. She was the inspector of South River City. The beast tide had left the entire city in shambles. Mountains of paperwork. Coordination nightmares. People depending on her. But, break through the 6-star bottleneck. Those words were a harpoon straight into the heart of a woman who'd been stuck at peak for 20 years. If she didn't go, she might be stuck forever. If she went, she'd get stronger and she'd get. Her brain helpfully supplied an image of my stupid, grinning face and an extremely detailed highlight reel of our week in the training room. She looked down at her still flat stomach. Her heartbeat sped up for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Work never ends. But this chance only comes once. Deep breath. She picked up her phone and called HR. This is Lung Yu. The South Sky Bridge battle damaged my foundation. I'm applying for extended medical leave to recover in the provincial capital. The most transparent excuse in the history of excuses. But she was a 6-star peak inspector. Who was going to question her? Next evening, Linjiang City. Sunset painted the hillside. Genius Cloud Summit. Villa District in liquid gold. As S Group's exclusive residential zone, the spiritual energy concentration here was 3 times the outside world. Each villa was separated by huge gardens. Maximum privacy. I was standing at the door of Villa 001. The first seat villa, watching a black stretch hover limo wind its way up the mountain road. The car stopped in front of me. Passenger door opened first. A long, beautiful leg in a black combat boot stepped out. Lung Yu, black tactical outfit. Pale blue hair loosely tied back. Cold as winter. Gorgeous as always. Almost simultaneously, the rear door opened. Su Chinga stepped out, carefully, with her slightly rounded belly. She moved gracefully, but her face was cold. Like, colder than Lung Yu cold. She looked up at me on the terrace. No, I missed you, honey. Smile. No happy tears. Just an X-ray stare that made my spine freeze solid. She knew something. Or she'd figured something out. Or worse, someone had told her something. Then the driver's door opened. Shin Rushuang emerged in a black business skirt suit and high heels, looking like she'd just stepped off a magazine cover. She surveyed the scene. Lung Yu, Su Chinga, me, with the expression of someone who'd bought front-row tickets to the year's best drama and was settling in with popcorn. Her eyes ping-ponged between all 3 of us. Pure entertainment. Oh no, they'd driven here together. In the same car. For hours. What had they talked about? My scalp went numb. My danger sense, which had been totally calm facing 3 S Group geniuses, was now screaming at maximum volume. But I knew. This was not the moment to show weakness. If I let the battlefield ignite at the front door, married life was over before it started. I needed to project head of household energy. Deep breath. Adjust face. Deploy confident smile. Charge. I strode forward to greet them. Oh my, Qin Yi. Shin Rushuang was clicking along in her heels, clearly planning to waltz right into MY house to watch the fireworks live. Not happening. The instant before she crossed the threshold, I stopped dead, spun around, and my broad back became an immovable wall blocking the entire doorway. She was walking too fast to stop. Momentum carried her straight into my back. Thump. I didn't budge. Didn't even blink. I looked down at her with a smile that was apologetic but absolutely non-negotiable. Vice President Shin, thank you so much for personally escorting Chinga and Xiaoyu here. I owe you one. However, I pointed behind me at the house interior with complete poker face sincerity. We have some private family matters to handle tonight. After that, I'll be starting closed-door intensive training with my family. As you know, S-level training involves a lot of explosive QI risks. Really not safe for visitors. Vice President Shun, it's getting late. I'll treat you to dinner next time. Safe travels. Before she could get a single word out, slam. That very expensive, bulletproof, beautifully carved front door shut approximately 2 millimeters from her nose. Outside, Shin Rushuang stood frozen, staring at the closed door. After a long moment, she laughed in disbelief, rubbed her slightly sore chest, and hissed through her teeth. Qin, you little brat. I've never seen anyone burn bridges this fast. Not even donkeys get abandoned this quickly after the mill is done. Let's see how you survive tonight. She cursed, but she got back in the car. Though somewhere deep down, a tiny, unwanted ripple formed in response to how decisively that man had just handled the door situation. Shin Rushuang. Down, girl. That's trouble you do not need. Inside. Door closed. Outside world. Deleted. I turned around. 2 women stood in my new luxury villa. 1, my pregnant wife, radiating, "You're already dead," energy. 2, my 6-star peak teacher girlfriend co-wife thing, trying very hard to look like she had no idea why this was awkward. Both staring at me. I rubbed my hands together, put on my brightest, most nuclear-grade sunshine smile. So, my 2 lovely wives, how about we eat dinner first? The silence that followed was the loudest sound I'd ever heard in my life. I've faced beast tides. I've decapitated a grandmaster's son. I've fought 3 S Group geniuses simultaneously. None of that prepared me for this.